Phillies win yesterday. However, I had a weird thought before the game, Johnny.
That's
that
not
I
a
would
first.
like to talk out with my friends.
That's nice.
It is Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
I don't know what the Sixers' plan is, but I've said that for 2 years. The Sixers are stuck on, they're going to try to convince you that this can still be fixed. The Phillies have plenty of time to fix this.
When I say, can someone explain to me what they're doing? Like, I still think the Phillies are a playoff team, whereas I don't know the direction that the Sixers are going in.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Friday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salciunas alongside my man, John Kincade. Johnny, happy payday championship football Friday, my man.
It is a good Friday, so I hope that everybody does have a good Friday, even though it's a very solemn day, but it's a good Friday.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we're going to have a great show.
I believe that we will.
You would have loved Good Friday with me as a kid, though.
Why is that?
Because Betty Kincade had a rule from 12 to 3. Connor, you'd love this one.
No talking?
Yes.
Wow.
We had to go to church.
Can we do that today?
We had to go to church. Yeah, 12 to 3, I won't talk. You won't benefit.
12
to
you know what? No, I need you to talk till 10.
Oh, I'm talking till 10.
Yeah, it's Friday.
But that used to be the rule. We would go to St. Anastasia and have to sit in church, and they do the Stations of the Cross and everything. So 3 hours of no talking.
That's
little John's head almost.
How did you make it? I'm surprised you're still here today.
A lot of pinches.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yes.
So the Phillies win yesterday, which was nice to see. And as you heard in that promo there, in our little intro, I continue to say I still think the Phillies are a playoff team, and I still think a lot of people should have that feeling. It was funny. Yesterday, you asked us who's actually saying they don't believe they'll be in the playoffs. And maybe our algorithms are different, but Connor and I see it on social media every single day. I imagine Connor sees them on the text line like every single day that the Phillies are not going to make the playoffs. So there are people out there that believe it.
I'm so thrilled that I do not have those people on my timeline.
Must be
For whatever
nice.
reason, I do not have that. I've got some people that are bitching and complaining all the time.
Yeah, which fine.
But and that's fine. You've had a lot. There's a lot.
I told you I got the email from Joe. This is the 2012 Phillies all over again.
Yeah, I don't. And I guess I've gotten a little bit.
And an email's different, man. That is, let me take the time to put this email together. I got to find your email address. I got to put a title. I got to write the subject, and then I got to hit send. Twitter's just like bang, bang, bang. Text messages quick. Email, that means he really feels that way.
Well,
Johnny.
people can go, just if you want to email Andrew, just I love Joel Embiid, no matter what.
At gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
Yeah, you got it. By the way, I read an article this morning from ESPN. The Sixers were given an F for their 2024-25 season, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, check it.
So yesterday, I'm driving home, and I'm listening to the Mike Missanelli show. And Mikey...
I do that, too.
Mikey kind of made me scared yesterday. And then eventually, it made my brain think, and it made me think of something that I'm going to need to talk out with you guys around 6:15 this morning. But I want to start off
Not the first
with
time that Mike Missanelli has scared somebody. Come on now. It's usually his bosses, but it's not, hey, it's the way it works. It happens.
So yesterday, Mike was talking about how the lineup just feels a little stale, which it has, right? It doesn't help that you have a guy hitting below 100. It doesn't help that you have another guy hitting below 200, even though Alec Boehm had the nice triple yesterday, John.
He called him a 3-day-old baguette.
Yes, yeah, which was a great line. Like, there's still taste to it.
Yeah, it's a taste, but it's quite the chew.
But stale, yeah.
Quite the chew.
And then, you got some other guys in the lineup. You're trying to figure out who the hell Max Kepler is. Does JT still have much pop in the bat, right? You start looking around, you're going, all right, there's some things to be a little bit concerned about. Now, look, Kepler's had nice days. JT's bat has gotten better. So there's still good things happening for the Phillies, and that's why they are a plus 500 team. That's why they are 11-8. It also helps they have a great pitching rotation. But Mike said something yesterday that freaked me out, John.
Okay, what did he say?
He had to remind himself that it's only April. Mike Missanelli.
Because Mike is not. Mike's done this long enough.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that when you very much, now I'm a while behind Mike, not that far, but while, that I feel the same way. I don't consume a baseball season like a football season.
But Mike
you learn
is
that.
starting to.
And that freaks me out.
And when he's feeling a certain way and he's trying to tell himself, oh, my God, what am I doing? Why am I reacting as if this is like the final stretch of the season? he is reminding himself that it's April. And if Mike, longtime baseball guy, by the way, also, right? Like, that's his sport.
I think MG Missanelli used to write some baseball columns.
Exactly. If he is starting to look around at this team and going, uh-oh, but has to pinch himself, like your mom did at church for 3 hours on Good Friday.
Yeah, she did.
He's pinching himself to remind him that it's only April. And so then that made my brain start to wander. And I thought of something, Johnny, that I will give to you in about 10 minutes.
God.
That kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Are you trying to ruin
If I'm
Good
being
Friday?
completely honest.
Okay, I got it. I heard the same thing. I thought it was very entertaining conversation. But it went in one ear, out the other for me.
Okay.
Because I refuse to do that.
Well, this is why I'm with my friends today, and you guys might be able to talk me.
Good.
No, I'm not on the ledge.
No, but we might be able to help you out.
Yeah. You know,
We'll try our best.
I just want to feel a little bit better in the next segment. But ultimately, Phillies got a win yesterday. Christopher Sanchez was dynamic. 7 innings, 12 strikeouts.
I love watching him pitch.
He is that's it. When Christopher Sanchez is starting, I can just sit down and sag into the couch and just watch, at this point, dominance.
Well, you guys both fancy yourself baseball players. Mm-hmm. And when you watch him pitch, to see the development of Christopher Sanchez from 22 to 25.
That's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. But also, too, physically. The putting on like 15 pounds
Yeah, he's
last year and
bulked
everything. He looks fantastic.
And look, his velocity, he's hitting 96, 97 on the gun.
How smart were they locking him down last year?
Look, I've always said I wish the Phillies did what the Braves did. Remember, Acuna Jr. was up for like half a season. They said, you know what, let's give him a 10-year contract.
Lock him down.
And it was only for $100 million.
And they did the same to Albies.
Yeah.
And they did it 2 years early with Austin Riley.
Right. And
3 years early with Austin.
For very cheap, which then gets you to spend in
buy
free
out
agency.
all the
buy out
arbitration
guys.
years.
Yeah.
Buy them out.
And so the Phillies did that with Christopher Sanchez, and you're going, all right, this is smart. I like this. But when they did it last year, I still didn't think this year, right? Like, I thought he'd be a good pitcher.
Okay.
Mid to back end of the rotation. And then you start hearing the whispers from the scouts and the analysts, the guys that are deep in baseball.
Jason Stark, Tim Kirchin on this station.
Calling him a Cy Young, like a dark horse Cy Young candidate. And so far to start the season, you're going, oh, my God, this dude is legitimately, like, blowing up on the scene here.
And you think about it, is that you've got that, and you talk about it. To me, there's nothing better than watching a pitcher deal.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, as long as the game's tight, I don't even mind it when I'm watching the opposing pitcher deal.
Yeah, because you like it. Yeah,
like
I
if it's a 2-1 game and both pitchers are dealing, that's high entertainment for me.
Right, absolutely.
Some people don't like that. Like if the Phillies lineup's being shut down by a great pitcher,
people freak out.
As long as the game's 1-0 or tied or whatever, I don't give a damn. I'm watching it going, dude, this is great.
But for the people that do want to see bats, they got the best of both worlds yesterday. 5-run first inning, which was great to see.
That was awesome.
Now, look, they did have a 3-run first inning earlier in the series, and that was the Taijuan Walker start where they ended up losing. But they put up a 5 spot.
And a 2-run after Nola gave up 4.
Yeah, so the bats were okay this series. And you're starting to see life out of Alec Boehm, which is good. So it was a nice win for the Phillies yesterday. They split the series with the Giants. It felt weird to say they needed a win in April, but I do think they needed that win yesterday, and they got it. Yeah, just because I don't think that at all.
I don't either. That was a little over the top when you said that to us, but it's all right.
So, coming up next, I need to talk something out with you guys. All right?
Connor, do you think this is going to embarrass him?
I know the point, and I think it's dumb.
Okay.
All right. I don't think it's possible. All right? Again, I don't think it's possible.
Okay.
But it's something that hit me yesterday, and it made me feel a little uneasy. And it goes back to conversations from last season, Johnny.
All right. This is good.
And by the way, they did run it back, right?
Oh, no. Of course they ran it back, and they ran it back proudly.
So
they bragged about running it back.
Bite your tongue, Mr. Dumb, over there.
Oh, I've got my arguments.
It's Kincade Salciunas, yeah. Brandon Marsh, good center fielder. Here on Good Friday, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Vitalico, and Silvana Kelleher. The best show ever. Smart.
12:13 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Again, let me make it clear. I believe the Phillies are a playoff team, and I believe they will get better, especially deadline time or when they call up Justin Crawford, who went 4 for 5 yesterday.
He did.
Dropped down a bunt for a single, stole 2 bases yesterday. So he'd already be the best center fielder on the roster if he's called up today.
And if you watch the minor league, I don't know if you're not a big MLB Network guy, are you?
I like MLB Network. Yeah.
Okay, well, MLB Network did a thing the other day about the guys that they can't wait to see leave the minor leagues to come to the major leagues. And Justin Crawford was second.
Oh, I love that.
But he needs more time. Got to keep him down. He needs more time. They got to work on things. Yeah. You know what? You got guys at the major league club that have to work on things that haven't worked on it. He's just fine. Let him come up.
Yeah.
But they won't. I guarantee he comes up right after the date where service time's not an issue.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Wait a minute. Oh, boy, look, Justin, now he's worked on those things.
Yeah, he's
against a bunch of tomato can.
He's done everything we've asked him to do.
Bunch of tomato can AAA pitchers who are not going to be major league guys. Oh, yeah, that's good.
All right. So I need to talk to my friends here. Now,
I purposely didn't read after the tease.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I didn't read because I didn't know if you were going to give it away or not.
Again, I said I want to talk to my friends. I'm not on a ledge. And then Connor goes, dummy. It's like, wow,
okay.
Thanks. Really,
Connor, am I going to agree with you on the dummy?
Really helps me.
I don't know.
I'm curious.
Okay.
So, again, yesterday I'm listening to Mikey Miss. And Mike is trying to remind himself that it's only April. And I'm like, uh-oh. He sees something or feels something. And that's not good. So, Johnny, what was the record, if you remember, near the top of your head, post-London series for the Fightins?
Oh, I think, okay, if you know where you're going, Geek Boy already has this number.
So go ahead.
You mean, are you saying what's the Phillies record since after London? I
was going to go with the last year.
If you go, yeah, since London last year.
Yeah.
When they got on the plane and came back, the Phillies are 4 games over 500.
So that includes this year.
Yes.
Yeah,
Geek Boy already had this.
Yeah.
So we were on the same wavelength of looking at something.
So they've played 500 baseball since that London trip.
Yeah, a little better, but that's all right. I got you.
Different seasons. So it doesn't have to be the same. However, they did run it back, right?
They did.
The biggest difference or differences, positively and negatively, positively, Luzardo, great, right?
Sure.
Negatively, your bullpen is not as good as it was last year, which we'll get to later on this hour.
Ooh, we will.
Because the guys you traded away or let leave due to free agency are great. And the guys that you brought in or kept, not so much. And Alvarado, as much as I love him, let's not act like it hasn't been dicey.
I love watching
every time he's on the mound.
I get what you're saying. It's been a little bit dicey, but Alvarado is not even on my page 2 of concern.
I got you, but it's dicey.
I'm bothered by the fact that you always have to preface with, I still think they're making the playoffs. I still think, why are you doing that to yourself? You're letting leak into your head what Mike Missanelli was talking about on his show yesterday.
You think so?
Yes.
All right.
Like, I don't have to
it's
say
almost like a coping mechanism.
I don't have to. No. No, you're the one doing the coping mechanism.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
To me, I don't know why you have to do it because I do not believe Connor and I say that to ourselves every day.
No, but I say it on the air because I know there's people out there that say this isn't a playoff team.
Right.
Okay, good.
That's kind of why I do it, too.
Good. Okay.
But they've played 500 ball. And I get it. It's only 19 games into the 2025 season. But
this was a favorable part of the schedule where you should have been able to build a little bit of a buffer for when it gets rough.
And it's a very similar team than from last year.
We got 3 more weeks. Well, we got 3 more weeks in a weekend series.
Yeah.
Till we get to Mother's Day. And as I laid out for you, it was very favorable.
It is going forward, but you played the Dodgers. You played a good Giants team. The Braves,
you beat them.
For what their record is, I still think they're a good baseball team.
You lost to the Braves, though. You see, you beat the Dodgers. You played the Giants. You split. You're 4-3 against the 2 best teams you played.
I got you. And they won the series against Washington.
And you putzed away games against bad teams. You lost a series to the Braves. You lost a series to the Cardinals. You're like you're giving away. You're not focused. They're not focused.
I think they're focused.
I don't.
I think they had a rough road trip. And I think that, listen, the double-digit runs giving up is going to scare people. But that's what, 4 or 5 pitchers in there? and you got more than that, and your starting rotation is going to get better when Ranger is back. Like, I know they're 500 or how many, 4 games over 500 since London.
It's almost 11 months.
They're 3 games over 500.
It's almost 11.
They're 3 games over 500 this season.
Yeah, okay, that's great. 3 games over 500. That, if they stay on this pace,
That's not good enough.
It's not
but
a
it's
great
okay.
season.
But I'm not worried about them staying this pace.
So why is it dumb? Because they did run it back. Like, it is the same team. The same team that had the ridiculous hot start last year.
Yeah, but it's not the same
Can't take
year.
that away.
It's not the same year. We get so caught up in the running it back, and that deals a lot more with October and the ceiling of the team and how they're going. Like, is the DNA championship? But, running back is, 90-plus wins. They're going to be fine. They're going to be more than 4 games over. They're not a 500 baseball team.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. Coming up
Connor,
next.
you and I, brothers in arms.
Yes,
Coming
sir.
up next, I want to point out some of the things from last year to this year. Issues, strengths, right? It's not just all bad, right? Like, there are good things about this team. Christopher Sanchez, we lauded him in the first segment.
See how you're having to couch it? You're even trying to convince yourself in your head.
No, I think they're a playoff team,
I
man.
think then you're creating your own drama in your head.
Maybe.
A lot of fans do, though.
So, what are some of the issues from last year that intertwine with this year? Or maybe new issues, new strengths, right? It's not all bad. The bullpen we will bring up coming up next is a big difference.
Oh, boy.
That is more negative than positive.
Hugely negative.
It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Friday, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils take the series finale. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies took the series ender against the Giants yesterday with a 6-4 win. Christopher Sanchez was outstanding, striking out 12 over 7 innings worth of work. That's a career high in strikeouts for him. Kyle Schwarber also went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Rob Thompson talked about Sanchez's performance after the game.
As good as you're going to get, I think. Or as good as I've seen. A lot of swing and miss. It was just diving into the ground. He was really good today, and we needed that.
They certainly did, and the Phillies needed that win to split the series with the Giants. What they didn't need was Nick Castellanos leaving the game early with a hip flexor injury. Rob Thompson also said he expects him to be good for today's game against the Marlins. A 3-game set starts against the Marlins tonight at 6:45 at Citizens Bank Park. Zach Wheeler faces off against Sandy Alcantara. The Flyers season came to an end last night with a 5-4 loss to Buffalo. Matvei Michkov did score twice in the game, and we're under a week till the NFL draft. We'll have some great content for you previewing what the Eagles could do in the coming days. This update is brought to you by Discover. Discover wants everyone to feel special. That's why they double all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card. I'm Connor Thomas, and you're home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We open up talking Phils to start. Nice win yesterday, but when I heard Mikey miss, a little worried that he had to remind himself that it's only April. And then I started thinking about the record since the London series, as John has it in front of us, which is amazing.
Okay, Dork Boy had that. I had looked at it earlier in the week.
Did you really? It's just crazy.
I looked at it earlier in the week because I'm saying to myself, they've been playing mediocre baseball for a long time.
Right.
Long time.
And they ran it back, and so that's why I'm just.
I hate running it back.
I need to be off the not the ledge, not at the ledge.
Good,
but just walk with me, talk with me here. All right, so let's look at some of the issues from last year that have maybe carried into this year, or maybe new issues that we have seen this year,
or issues that they've created for themselves.
Yep. Or there's also been positives, like approach.
Okay.
Seeing pitches this year has been much better than last year.
Their chase rate was still fifth, though. Their chase rate is still has plummeted after the early season success.
Still had 6 walks yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
6 hits.
No, I'm happy.
12 times on base.
I'm happy with it.
So it's gotten better. Absolutely, it has. And I like that they are trying different things with the lineup. Right, Stott in the leadoff spot again yesterday. I just think it's a little too inconsistent with the. I can't platoon all season long with, and it's not the same platoons, right? It's like,
yes, exactly.
Sosa's going to play second one day, he's going to play left field one day, he's going to play third base one day. There's a lot of moving parts right now, and I also wonder how comfortable does a player get, or uncomfortable does a player get when they're in one day, out the next day, right? So one of the big issues that's new this year has been the bullpen. And you sent me numbers just yesterday
that are bizarre
to keep an eye on the former bullpen members.
During this mediocre streak for the Phillies, every one of these players exited. Okay?
Yeah.
They would all be, right now, if they were in the Phillies bullpen, they would be number 1, 2, and 3 in ERA. They would be number 1, 2, and 3 in every statistical category in the bullpen.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Jeff Hoffman, Estevez, and Dominguez.
Yeah.
They would all be dominant. Their collective ERA would be around 1.9 for the three of them.
0.9.
So the 3 best arms in your bullpen right now would be 3 guys that you let get away.
Yeah. One you traded away.
Now, the thing is, I'm going to give you a ton of credit. Because Sir Anthony Dominguez, you absolutely were like, I don't like it when he left.
I thought they gave up on him way too
You didn't
early.
like it. You didn't like him at all. I believe it's 9 appearances now.
Yeah.
With
he's
a 0.
Not allowed, yeah,
with
he's not allowed
another.
to run.
Okay.
He's got his stuff is too good for them to have just given up on him.
I am not going to
For
act.
Austin Hayes.
I'm not going to act like I'm Johnny Baseball and that I reacted that heavily to that move. So I'm not going to say, Dave Dombrowski's an idiot. But I do think it is, in that I was adamant all winter long.
Oh, yeah, you were.
You cannot let Hoffman and Estevez go.
Yeah, at least one comes back.
You had 2 closers.
Yeah.
Or potential. And I know the taste in your mouth about Hoffman was really bad after that Mets series because he pooped himself.
He did, yeah.
Under pressure in the biggest times, repeatedly pooped himself. But to me, you had to keep Hoffman or you had to keep Estevez. And what are you going to do this year? You're going to go trade away more prospects to go buy a closer at the trade deadline?
Probably, yeah.
So you're going to repeat what you didn't need. So to me, Dave Dombrowski, rolling it back is one thing. But creating your own issue, creating your own problem with 3 swing and misses here. These are swing and misses. Is, to me, that's what's unacceptable. But as I said, I wanted Estevez or Hoffman to stay. And Dominguez, I didn't make a big deal about it. You did. You did it the very day we came back.
I hated it.
You hated it. And I was like, I remember not rolling my eyes at you, but going, okay, this isn't going to derail their chances to win a World Series. But those 3 would all be far and away the 3 best arms in our bullpen, and you had them all under contract a year ago today.
And what was...
Well, no, you didn't have Estevez yet.
Estevez, yeah. And what was the strength last year? One of the strengths was we talked about the bullpen.
The bullpen's been fantastic.
Hey, the starters just need to go 5 innings. And we said that glowingly, like, hey, it's going to be great that Zach Wheeler's arm will be more rested toward the back end of the season because you don't need him to go 8 innings. If he's going, go for it. But he could go 6 and then you have horses in your bullpen.
Last year
you don't
you
have
felt
horses. You don't really have horses. Like Kirkering, I like Kirkering a lot, and he had a really good outing yesterday. And Alvarado is going to be a little dicey. My concern with Alvarado, it's not necessarily blowing a game. He's thrown 30, 35 pitches almost every single outing.
He has.
And when that's going to add up.
It is, and they're probably going to have to work on his workload a little bit differently than. And I also think, though, he'll tighten that up. I think we're going to see a string where he puts out 4 or 5 outings where he has a 13-pitch outing, a 15-pitch outing.
Yeah, his last 5, 14 yesterday, 30 the game before, 11, 30, 10. Like these,
okay, yeah,
these 30 spots, they got it, and that's just when he's wild, right? Which that does happen.
The 30s are the outlier, though, with him for his Phillies career. 28s, 27s.
Yeah.
He had a run of those, so I'm not worried about that. And that is April, so I'm not worried about that at all.
He's also thrown in a 35 and a 23.
But to me, if you're going to roll back a team, Andrew, you're saying our plan is to roll it back. We have a championship caliber team. You can't make that statement if you don't bring up the fact that the last 2 years, the bullpen has been ridiculously a huge part of what you accomplished. And then, so if you're rolling it back, why did you deconstruct one of your arguably greatest strengths?
Right.
You chose to let 3 guys walk out the door, and that makes no sense to me. That is where I will be highly critical of Dave Dombrowski.
But then you added Luzardo, right? So, again, I need to make
but that's fine.
We're doing the differences from last year, right? Because I'm trying to figure out, is this that team that we saw pre-London or post-London,
Adding
right?
Luzardo did not keep you from keeping either Estevez or Hoffman.
Right, because you traded a prospect for him.
Didn't have to do anything.
Nah, but it's a relocation of assets. Like last year, Taijuan Walker made 15 starts for this team.
Okay.
He was terrible in just about all of them. Your starting rotation has improved. And remember, Painter is going to be up at some point. That's going to be a huge boost.
So you you loaded up on something that was already a strength, and you took something that was a great strength and made it a weakness.
Yeah. I mean,
that doesn't make sense. You don't do that in any line of business. You don't take what is your strength,
and especially in today's baseball where pitchers aren't going 7-8 anymore.
Dunkin' Donuts does not say, "Hey, you know what? A lot of people stop here every morning for coffee, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to now go to all lattes. Black coffee it's not good enough. You don't go away from strengths in business.
Right. I'm upset that they didn't bring back one of Hoffman or Estevez.
And you did say that
I think
all
that's
along.
a mess. This Sir Anthony Dominguez thing, I'm going to disagree with you, Andy, because I don't think it was necessarily ability. It kind of felt like his ship had sailed here in Philly. I
didn't feel that way at all.
It felt like he needed a reset.
And Connor, I absolutely, I remember you doing this on the Locked On Phillies podcast last year when it happened.
Yeah.
And I agreed with you.
His reset 90 minutes south has been pretty damn good.
No, but I agree.
But you can't just do, it's close in proximity, so it's the same thing. Different role, different bullpen, different feel.
I remember Connor's argument on this, and I sort of agree with you that, I think your whole point was a change of scenery might do him well.
Exactly. Philadelphia ain't for everybody. And I'm not saying we ran him out of town or anything. Just some guys go other places and play better.
I'm just saying the year they went to the World Series, he was amazing. The year they went to the NLCS, he was amazing.
Last year he was not.
Yeah, so then all of a sudden Philly was too much for him last year, but it wasn't too much for him the year they get to the World Series and the NLCS.
You didn't need him. And you thought Austin Hayes was going to be a guy. And I know you don't like Austin Hayes, and that's part of this equation. Because
some
you don't
people
like
thought he was a guy.
And you didn't like Austin Hayes from the beginning.
The general manager of the Phillies, not the radio guy.
He's been on, honestly, other than the Luzardo acquisition, he hasn't been on exactly a heater.
No.
Dave Dombrowski. He's had a bad calendar year. With the if you do your little T chart,
yeah.
He's had a bad calendar year.
But it could be fixed come trade deadline time.
But then you're fixing something that you broke.
Right. Unfortunately, the trade deadline is 3 months away.
Yes.
And so I would love to hear from you. Come up next, we'll check our text line for the first time this morning at 610-632-0975. Is this team more of the first half Phillies from 2024 or the second half Phillies of 2024? The second half Phillies were a 500 ball club. There's too much talent for them to be a 500 ball club, but maybe there are issues with lineup construction and, oh, by the way, your bullpen being dismantled. We'll hear from you coming up next at 610-632-0975. Eagles talk in the 7 o'clock hour here on this Championship Friday. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Sixers president of basketball operations,
Do you get the sense that this Phillies team is more like the first half of 2024 or the second half of 2024? And they're 11-8 to start the season. Nice win yesterday. There are a lot of positives with this team, but obviously there are some things that you look around and you go, yeah, I wish they did this. I wish they did that. And we talked about it. So none of this is 19 games into the season revisionist history. We pointed out the concerns with the bullpen before the season started. We pointed out the concerns of running it back before the season started. We pointed out the headspace of Alec Boehm, how difficult it must be hearing your name in trade talks all off season, and all of a sudden you're just back. We've talked about the issues in center field all off season and all last year and the year before that. And yet it's all the same. And so that's why when I hear Mike Miss talk about the 3-day-old baguette and talk about how it feels a little stale, not that it's bad, but it feels stale. I don't think he's totally wrong. But he is saying the right thing that he has to remind himself that it's only April. I get what he's saying.
I just can't believe that the two of you have to speak yourself off ledges. And you are. You're speaking yourself off a ledge.
I feel it.
You're doing it. You're not doing it ultra alarmist. But you are. You're speaking yourself up off a ledge, and I'm shocked with this baseball team. Connor and I are brothers in arms on something, and it's this, is that I can't, 19 games into a baseball season, am I going to, what you thought, I would say is, what you thought you knew about the Phillies last year in April certainly didn't play out in September and October.
Right.
It's like, let things cook. Let a baseball season cook. And the positives and the negatives, I'm looking at a Nick Castellanos that's, to me, an improved baseball player. This is the best version I've seen of Nick Castellanos early on. I'm looking at a Kyle Schwarber who's putting an April together.
Right.
Who never puts an April together.
I think the thing is, for me, the things that I was worried about, they're legitimate issues, right? Like, but let's go through the things we were worried about coming into the season. All right, so again, none of this is revisionist history.
Okay.
Worried about the bullpen, right?
All right.
Hasn't been great.
Yeah.
Worried about center field. Hasn't been great.
Understatement, but yes.
It's been horrible. Worried about Alec Boehm and the mentality, not the hitter, right? I think he's going to hit out of this. We've been saying this since the season started. He's not a 150 or he's now 178. He's not a 178 hitter. But the mentality thing, not the first time with Alec Boehm. A little worried about JT Realmuto and his age. That's shown a little bit. Not too drastic, but it's shown a little bit. The things you're positive about, rotation's been good other than Aaronola. And then I like Castellanos more than most. So like I'm not.
I think Castellanos has been one of the best stories of the year. Again,
not totally
by the way,
surprised.
last year, as you pointed out constantly, he's their best hitter last year.
Yeah.
If you talk the entirety of the season, he was their best hitter.
Right.
And that includes when you have Harper in the lineup, Turner in the lineup. You got the $300 million men.
Right. Now, of those concerns, they can be improved. All right? And maybe that's why I'm doing this back and forth thing,
And
right?
Turner sprung a leak a little defensively.
A little bit.
Yeah, bad
he's-
day.
I'm not
he's
about
regret. No, it's not only a bad day. He's had quite a few here where it's getting by at two more. And Ruben points it out yesterday. The coming at balls sideways again, not getting his body in front of balls that go by him.
Hopefully he gets back on track.
Yeah.
Center field can improve if Crawford comes up and plays well, at least to the standard that we think he will play.
That's fair.
Bullpen, they will add 3 months from now. So there are things that they could fix, but the things that I was worried about coming to the season have played out through 19.
See, I always see that as a good thing.
What do you mean?
When the worries that you have preseason on a team, like think about it. Before the season, we all predicted them to be a postseason team. We all predicted them more than 90 wins. Did we all predict them to win the division?
I did.
Yes.
So,
Especially because the Acuna and
I thought we were
Strider
96,
factor.
95, 94.
No, I had 92.
and I was
Oh.
at 93.
Connor, you
And
were
you were at
94. I was at 94.
We were in a row, though.
I was at
Yes.
94. Okay, so I was 94.
My point is this. When you go into a season and you have these expectations of what the problems could be, you're like, this is where I worry about this team. And those are the places where the problems actually pop up. And in spite of those problems, prior to the season, you still had them as a good baseball team that was going to win their division, win 90-plus games, and be in contention for a World Series. The problem with those teams is when issues pop up that you didn't expect. Like if the rotation stunk, that's when we'd have
Right.
like a major issue.
Well-
If Bryce Harper was terrible, like that's where we'd have an issue. But when you have the like notified problems and then they play out, you've already mentally prepared yourself that this team can overcome those and still be what we thought they were.
Yeah, but they could play out drastically worse than expected.
That's fair.
Like, look, I'm not a Brandon Marsh fan, right? I've never hit that. Not a big Brandon Marsh fan.
Yeah, exactly.
He's hitting under 100. Like, I didn't expect that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
even though I thought Brandon Marsh would be a subpar center fielder for this baseball team, I didn't expect historic.
Wheeler, too, and another thing I would say to you, though, Connor, is Wheeler and Nola, two highest paid pitchers, your two lead dogs, having their worst Aprils as Phillies.
I'm not worried about Wheeler so
Yeah,
much.
I understand you're saying that, but it's their worst Aprils as Phillies.
I know. He's still got life. Like, the Nola
Yeah, but he's
worry-
also getting taken deep.
Yes. He might
And-
be working
and
through things early on.
he
Could
may be.
The Nola, like the velocity thing is what's freaking me out with Nola.
Right.
Like it's low.
But I
Yeah.
mean, you expected You expect Wheeler and Nola a certain level, and both of them are having their worst Aprils, which to me, though, I can spin as a positive.
Right.
They're 11-8.
And
Right.
also, you haven't seen Ranger throw yet. If you get the Ranger you got for 3 months last year, and we've seen that when he's healthy,
Yeah.
you're a monster. When Painter comes
Yeah.
up, you're more of a monster.
Well, we got to see what Painter. We have no idea what Painter will be at the major
we have
league.
a good idea.
We hope
We have
he's
a good
going
i-
to be.
I'll tell you right now, he's going to be very, very good.
And oh, by the way, we got to say the same thing about Crawford. Like, I hope that he's going to be
Yes.
really good.
He's
I don't
more
know.
of a hope
I
guy.
don't know. Like, we'll see.
Not the baseball. The guys who watch the minor leagues and do the minor league
They
report,
think he's gonna be great,
They,
yeah.
they think he's going to be a fantastic player, and they also, if you watch MLB Network, they don't know why he's not here.
Yeah, I know.
They do not know why you would let
They
this.
know why he's not
Oh
here.
no, they know why.
They know
It's
why he's
now,
not
now
here.
them and they don't know. Dylan doesn't know, but they don't know.
All right, what do we got on the text line? I'm curious. What are the people saying about our fight-ins? We're going to get into the Eagles in the 7 o'clock hour as well. But so far, the vibes on the Phillies, what do we got?
So Bob from Dub C just asked the question, what are those 3 relief pitchers that are no longer here, talking about Dominguez, Estevez, and Hoffman, getting paid?
Wait a minute.
In
Dub
a
C.
non-salary
Yeah.
cap sport, by the way.
Bob from Dub C has texted us many times.
Dub C though. I live in right outside Dub C. I've never heard that. Maybe it's a new age thing.
Salary. There's no salary cap, so I don't care.
Yes, I don't want to hear either.
I don't care how much money they're getting
Yep.
paid. Like, I really don't.
Nope.
And
That should not even be a discussion.
by the way, Sir Anthony Dominguez is still under control.
Correct.
So
you would have been.
you're
Sir
not-
Anthony Dominguez is what's he making this year? 3?
Let's see here.
Probably 3. I'm gonna guess.
This year, I actually got a club option, $8 million.
Oh, that's big.
That breaks the bank
So again,
in a
they weren't spending.
non-salary cap sport.
Just like you're keeping Crawford down so you can control those monies.
Yeah. So it's not like this isn't like the NBA or NFL with salary cap. There's no cap. So if they say, oh, too expensive, I laugh at that because what do I care? It's not my money. And it's a non-salary cap sport. All right, come on next. We'll reset today's topics. And, of course, we get into the Eagles to start the 7 o'clock hour because John can't get the 2025 season off his mind.
Can't do it.
Johnny football guy Johnny, is wondering about the tape. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sanchez strikes out 12. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies took the series finale against the Giants yesterday afternoon with a 6-4 win, and Christopher Sanchez was awesome. Struck out 12 over 7 innings of work. That's a career high in Ks for Sanchez. Kyle Schwarber also went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Rob Thompson talked about Sanchez's performance after the game.
As good as you're going to get, I think. I mean, or as good as I've seen. I mean, a lot of swing and miss. It was just diving into the ground. He was really good today, and we needed that.
The changeup was working. The Phillies definitely did need that to split the series against the Giants. Nick Castellanos did leave the game early with a hip flexor injury, but Rob Thompson also said he expects him to be good for today's game against the Marlins. Game 1 against Miami at Citizens Bank Park is at 6:45 this evening. Zach Wheeler on the mound against Sandy Alcantara. The Flyers season came to an end last night with a 5-4 loss to Buffalo, so they'll head into the offseason. And we're heading into the week of the NFL draft coming up. We got under a week until that starts, so we'll have some great content for you previewing what the Eagles could do. This update's brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Sports.
97.5 The Fanatic. Open up with some Phillies discussion. We'll get to the Eagles to start the 7 o'clock hour. Nice win for the Phillies yesterday. 6-4 over the Giants. But our conversation today is help me. Help me specifically. Because I heard Mikey Miss yesterday talking about the Phillies and how he, Mr. Baseball, has to remind himself that it's only April. When he is saying that, I start going, why is Mike saying that?
When did this Mr. Baseball stuff start?
He's always been a baseball guy.
He's always been a baseball guy, but it's just, telling you. I'm hearing Bruce Springsteen's Glory Days playing in the background with all three of you.
And then,
seriously,
I had the thought about the 500 or so record since the London trip.
Yep.
Where we saw a lot of warts with the team last season. And so far, to start this year, the things that I, John, and Connor were worried about have shown their ugly heads. Now, I do believe they can all be improved upon. You have guys in the farm system that are ready to come up. Right? They're ready to come up.
Oh, no, they're going to be ready as soon as the service time date passes.
Yeah, exactly.
Then all of a sudden it'll be like, yeah, we're really pleased with the progress he's made. Now he's ready.
Right.
And they're going to try to bullcrap you and tell you that that's why they did it.
And you know they're going to acquire a bullpen, and Connor's brought up Andrew Painter coming up, so that means somebody's going to go to the rotation or somebody's going to come out of the rotation, go to the bullpen, and be an added piece to that bullpen. So there are things to look forward to be confident in. But right now, through 19 games, that's what I can base off of. And through 19 games, the things that I was worried about have reared their ugly heads. And
okay, but the things you were worried about, you still thought they'd be a playoff team and win the division.
Yeah.
So,
but again, it's drastic. It's like the Brandon Marsh. The center field has been more drastically bad than even I could have predicted.
Okay.
Yeah, but even though you don't like Brandon Marsh, or if you're out there and you don't like Johan Rojas, like Marsh is not going to hit 100 for the year. Like,
no, hopefully he's not.
He's not going.
Hopefully he's not hitting here. That'd be the best scenario. He's finally sent out the door, which they should have done. That would be the best scenario.
Well, they're not getting rid of him. Okay, the deadline maybe, but they're not getting rid of him right now.
If you bring up Crawford, you're not going to have all three of them here.
No, you're not.
I got you.
You're not. So, and again, they'll probably make an excuse and keep the incompetent one instead of keeping the other one, who's better at him in everything.
Unless you think unless there's more value out there,
and there could be.
Again, I don't know who's clamoring for Brandon Marsh or Johan Rojas.
I don't think either one of them is getting the phones lit up.
No.
They put up the stat yesterday. Jeff Kerr put up the stat. Phillies center fielders are 3 for whatever during the month of April. And I said, would you please just make that a Rojas stat, please? And he goes, Rojas is hitting 214. Brandon Marsh is hitting 0.
At least one's got.
I said, what do we do?
All three.
I said, yo, like, come on now. At least he's hitting above the Mendoza line. Marsh is below the Marsh line.
Marsh line, man.
Terrible.
All right, so you could text in 610-632-0975. Does this Phillies team feel like more of the first half Phillies team from last year where they went off on a torrid start? And no, we're not going to say historic, right? Like they don't. Are they the plus 500 team or are they the 500 team?
Right.
First half versus second half. So far through this season, they're 11-8. They've been good. They've been bad. The low points have been low, though, and that's the scary thing. There haven't been many, like, super high points right now, right? Other than Sanchez and Luzardo.
See, now I look at it more if you're talking team. I look at those things.
Yeah, beat the Dodgers big, yeah.
But like the Dodgers series was a really, really nice win to me. That was really, really nice. I didn't like the series with the Giants. Even though splitting it, I don't even blink against a great team like that. But the two losses were horrendous.
Yeah, the Giants series felt underwhelming. You give up double-digit runs twice. Like that's
but to split a series, you don't give a damn, right?
No, but that's where you like, oh, thank God. You're lucky to get out of there with a split. You got to play better.
Well, then why did you think I was over the top in the first segment when I said it felt good to get a win yesterday?
No, I didn't.
I said it may seem drastic in April, but they needed that win.
And you needed
that win.
You said you
Dude, if they dropped 3 or 4 to the Giants, you would have been losing your mind.
No, I wouldn't. They'd be over 500 19 games into the season. Dude, it's mid-April. Take a breath.
I'm going to tell you. Remember last week when you pulled the nonsense and we were getting on you about the, not wanting to make Super Bowls? It's like one day a week you're coming in, I don't recognize you. Like this is out of context for you. And I know that we are not a radio show that comes in and goes,
No,
okay, let's
no,
say
no.
something outrageous.
No, we don't
You're
do
just,
that.
But this doesn't seem like you. Again, this doesn't seem like you. And I think what you do is the utmost respect you have for Mike Missanelli. You let Mike Missanelli get in your head.
He did.
Which, by the way, is a very dangerous thing to do.
Again, I heard it.
Very dangerous.
I heard him talking on my drive home, and then I had this what was the record since London thought in my head, and I couldn't get it out, and then I asked you for it. You have it. So here's the thing. You have it. So that means it's somewhat in your brain, too.
No, absolutely. I've thought about it. No, I've been thinking about it for a while.
I mean, you got it on the iPad spreadsheet.
No, that's not fair. He's got everything on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good
I
point.
absolutely do. It's crazy. It is a little crazy.
Now, here's the funny thing. You're listening to 97.5, The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. You'll call me crazy in 1 second, and then you'll talk about how you're concerned about the potential gauntlet for something that has not even come out yet with the Eagles schedule, and now you're not worried,
No, not worried at
but
all.
thinking about tape.
Well, I'm thinking about what we always talk about is like Brandon Marsh. Just to bring it to Brandon Marsh for a second in comparison. We talk about the fact is I truly believe the Major League Baseball pitchers have gotten the book on Brandon Marsh, figured it out, and he does not know how to adjust. So they
It's
have
not
now,
hard to figure out. He can't hit a high fastball.
they've written the book on him, and you see where they pitched to him every time, how his pitch, they pitched him every time that way. They know. I wonder, is there a chance that we are going to see offensive coordinators in the NFL? What will they do during this offseason? Every NFL offensive coordinator that has the Eagles on their schedule, let's just put it that way, they are studying what the Eagles did last year. And they are studying Vic Fangio's defense. And I wonder whether a book will be out on the Eagles' defense. And they will at least not be able to make them mediocre or terrible, but be able to say, that caught us by surprise. Youngest defense in the NFL not only is number one, but wins the Super Bowl. We're going to adjust to that. Let me just give you a few ideas why.
Okay.
As a defensive coordinator early in his career, with an expansion team, Vic Fangio managed to have the 5th best defense. The next year, it went to 14th.
Okay.
The next year, it went to 29th. Then he went to Indianapolis. 13th best defense. The next year, it slipped to 18th. Next year, it slipped to 26th. So then he goes to San Francisco. At 1 year, he has the 3rd best defense in the NFL. Next year, it goes to 9. Then it goes to 18. Then he goes to Chicago and has the number 1 defense. Number 1. The next year, it went to 15. There's been a history of Vic Fangio's defenses being figured out.
All right, here's my thought on this.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know if it's defense is being figured out.
And I do not know that either, so that's why I wanted the conversation.
If I think
But it
that-
happened 4 times.
If I think that this defense takes a bit of a slide, and you're not saying number 1 to number 30, you're saying number 1 to
Or 1 to 15?
yeah, it would be because of the players that left more so than his defensive scheme being figured out. You're going to rely on a lot of rookies, a lot of aged veterans that you brought in on 1-year prove-it deals. You're relying on a lot of new pieces. I'm just guessing without knowing anything about those teams that you just mentioned.
Okay.
He probably got certain players paid to other teams.
Could be.
Right? Like Milton Williams was not getting $100 million before this season, this past season. That was not happening.
Right, exactly.
Then he balls out, has a tremendous year, has a great playoff, has a great Super Bowl, and so he gets paid. So and that's a big loss for the Eagles, right? As Andrew Pacheco keeps on pointing out, 48% of the snaps. I think it's more so players that leave than the scheme being figured out. And one of the reasons why I feel so confident in saying that, you have 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, right? Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes had 2 weeks. One of the greatest offensive mind and one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the sport. They had 2 weeks, and they couldn't figure out a damn thing.
No, they
By
got
the way,
smoked.
a team that Vic Fangio had never beaten with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in
And
his coaching career.
Mahomes was like bad.
Well,
right?
wait a minute, though.
I know he
was
had a
with those
second.
other teams. He didn't have the team that he had.
Right, he didn't have the talent.
understand.
And again, that's why it goes back to the
He
talent
had
thing for me.
inferior talent in every matchup against Andy.
this is more of a player conversation than a coach conversation.
That's what it is for me. If this defense takes a slide, it's because of the players that left. I don't believe it's anything about the book.
So you're telling me
the
4 for
tape.
4 then, though? That doesn't – it's 4 for 4.
I would like to look at the defensive rosters of those years and then what happened the following season. I imagine he lost key players. He lost – and if there's a slide, he lost Darius Slay, who had a tremendous season, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. He lost his backup linebacker to the linebacker that's hurt and could potentially miss week 1.
Okay.
He lost Oren Burks, right? He lost his starting safety. No matter what he may have thought about him, his starting safety had a very good second half of the season and the playoffs. I think it's more player-related if they do take a slide this year.
It very well could be the slides have been drastic. And that's just where I say they have been drastic slides. And when it happens 4 times, I'm less likely to go, yeah, in every one of those situations, it just happened to be personnel. Sometimes I think people can figure it out.
Yeah, but you know what happens? He figures it out too. But
he hasn't. He's 0 for 4.
Well, no, he's 4 for 4 recreating it in new places. So it's not like it's a constant career slide. I know you're not a Game of Thrones guy. George R.R. Martin writing this book that's never going to come out.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio's been doing this for 40 years. The book's not coming out. He's not finishing the book at any point. He's going to be able to reinvent his defense like he's always done to make sure that he does this the right way.
I remember having these arguments with Bobby when he was here. And the day they got Vic Fangio, I was thrilled. And Bob was like, meh, I don't think he's that good. I said, I think he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the game the game's ever known.
Right.
And to me, other people think differently about him. He's got a chance to prove it.
Yeah, he absolutely does.
I'm not expecting a big slide, but if you're expecting last year, I think it's going to be a little bit of a rougher ride.
Fair question.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as dominant. Go ahead.
No, I was saying fair.
I'm sorry.
I just said fair question.
All right, coming up next, off that discussion, I want us to each give our biggest concern going into the 2025 Eagles season. And then the segment after that, because don't worry, we got to be positive too, we'll also do what we're confident in. But bad news first, right? Always.
I always say bad news first.
Always bad news first. So we'll do the biggest concern going into the 2025 season next, and then the following segment we'll do the thing we're most confident in. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The NFL Draft is right around the corner. What will the Eagles do?
Kincade Salciunas is brought to you by the Bet Parks Online Casino and Sportsbook app. You can play your favorite casino games and bet sports. You love to play and you play to win. So if you bet Parks, you got to be 21 in Pennsylvania or Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sorry, sponsor. It is still a Championship Friday, regardless of what the people tell you here on
That's
Kincade
awesome.
and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, so we're getting to the Eagles a little bit here, too. If you want to text in about our fighting Phils, does this team feel more like the great first half team from last year?
Does it feel like
You
that?
and your iPad this
It's
week.
like it's
I'm going to
screaming.
throw that thing out the window.
I don't know what it is. You can't search to anything without. How do you? I'm going to disable Reels playing on purpose.
The other day,
My gosh,
yeah, who do we had Tim Kirchin on. All I hear is, ah!
the guy's yelling at me. Like, come on now. I'm disabling Reels.
So
I don't like Reels.
our
so.
Phillies question, does this team feel more like the first half season from 2024 or the 500 ball club, which was the second half of the 2024
And
season?
our answers?
Look, I still think they are more like the first half season, not obviously historic.
I don't. The first half last year was historically great. They were a historically great team.
Yeah, but I don't think they're a five. I ultimately don't think they're a 500 ball
Yeah,
club.
but the thing is, though, you got to say you're asking the question. Are they
I
more
do.
like the
I'm
first half?
asking it.
They're a hell of a lot more like the second half team, and it's not close. The second half team scuffled all the time. That's what this Phillies team's doing. Do I think I'm worried about them making the playoffs? No, but they're more like the second half team. They're nothing like the first half.
well, then if they're the second half team, they're a 500 baseball team.
No, but that's just
not
mean,
good.
No, all it means, and Connor and I are both telling you, and I think is that Connor is that they're 19 games in, so I'm not going to give out a report card
Yeah, we're not to the point where we can make that determination yet.
Okay.
on a 19-win team because I do think Wheeler will be better. I do think Nola will be better. I do think that. Well, I'm not counting on Brandon Marsh for anything. I mean, it's bottom line. I think they'll be better.
Yeah, I think
So-
it'll improve. Yes.
And I think Alec Bohm will be better. I'm seeing glimpses of Alec
Yeah.
Bohm that I like.
I never thought that he was going to continue to hit under 200.
Correct.
And
he's not going
I just
to.
need.
Now, Brandon Marsh, what about under 150?
That means
be honest.
if he gets to 150, that means
Wow, he's improved a
that means
lot.
he got red hot.
Exactly.
All right, so and then we open up an Eagles conversation because John was wondering, could there be a book on Vic Fangio? He's gone down the history of Vic Fangio's first years as a defensive coordinator versus the second year.
In his first 4 seasons as a DC, when he comes in, when he has it, or when Vic Fangio has his best year, and you're not going to get better than number 1.
Yeah, right.
Every year after, there is a distinct drop-off. Distinct drop-off.
Well, hopefully there's not a distinct drop-off this year. So let me ask you, going into the 2025 season, right? We're early. It's April, so answers can change. What's your biggest concern right now going into 2025 for the Eagles?
His name is Kevin Patullo.
Fair?
We had an incompetent offensive coordinator and an incompetent defensive coordinator in 2023. That absolutely is my number one concern, that Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni's buddy, who nobody else around the NFL was like, man, look at this guy. He's been around the NFL for a long time. We're going to poach that guy. Bright minds are poached in the NFL all the time. Somehow, no one ever came to poach Kevin Patullo. That does not mean that he can't have a great year, but it does mean that I'm going to doubt that we're not taking a slight step back in the offensive mind that's designing the offense.
Okay. I'll stick with that side of the ball, even though defense did come to my mind first, but I'll
It did,
stick with that
okay.
side of the ball. And it's the numbers that you have given me, the Saquon Barkley potential, not fall off like this guy's going to run for 600 yards next year,
No.
but he's not going to rush for almost Eric Dickerson's mark next year because that much tread on your tires. And oh, by the way, they won the Super Bowl. So
Yeah,
he didn't
it tends to smoke you.
he didn't just have tread from 16 because he didn't play week 18. He doesn't just have the tread from 16 regular season games. He also has the tread from the Packers game, Rams game, Commanders game,
And-
Chiefs game.
And if you check the Carfax, he has the trend of 2 seasons lost to injury, which gives him a little extra tread on the tire, but rehab of coming back from 2 major injuries
Yeah.
in his career.
And
So
it's a
reason
concern.
for pause.
And it's
a
a concern just
concern.
because he was so dynamic.
My gosh,
last
he's
year,
great.
to the point where nobody expected it. Right? I'll still say it. Nobody expected what we got out of Saquon
I expected
Barkley last year.
1,250 yards.
Yeah, he almost doubled that.
Yes,
right? Like,
exactly.
Like nobody expected.
No,
what
as far
he
as
ended up
rushing, that's
doing.
what I thought.
Right.
I really did.
So this upcoming season, maybe it's back to our initial expectations, which that's
Would be like 1,500.
yeah, maybe.
I'd be thrilled.
That's still,
I'd be-
700-yard drop-off, 600-yard drop-off.
I'd be thrilled because you know what? I know that Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown,
Correct.
and maybe a dynamic new tight end took advantage of it.
Now, there is one I have on defense, but I don't want to steal Connor's potentially. Go ahead, Connor. What do you got?
The right side of the defensive backfield.
Oh, that's what mine was.
Absolutely. So,
Because Q and Reed got one side.
yeah, and it's not just that.
You're
It's-
backing Reed. I like this.
It's the Zach Bond factor as well. So whoever plays safety, unless they bring in a starter later on in free agency or draft somebody you feel comfortable with.
Right.
Like as it stands right now, you're probably having Sidney Brown play on the right side if you're looking from the quarterback's perspective. You're probably having Keely Ringo as your outside guy out there on the right side from the quarterback's perspective. And you can't cut Zach Bond to that side because you don't know who your other linebackers are going to be. And if you just align him that side, well, it opens up the chance to run to the left a little bit more because you don't trust the secondary linebacker right now. So if I'm a team building a game plan against the current Eagles defense, I am running quick passes to the right all day long, and I'm saying stop me. And I don't know that Keely Ringo and Sidney Brown can do that.
See what? Look at that.
Connor, that's a really
we were
good
on
one.
the same page there, but I didn't. I wanted to stick with the offense.
No, but that's a really good one. And Connor, if he hadn't, yours was that before Andrew gave his.
Yes.
Okay, that concerns me a little. That concerns me a little bit.
So we got three different.
Those are good. No, because he just made a really good case there.
Damn right he did.
But hopefully, I'm hoping by next Monday, after we've seen 3 rounds of the draft,
right.
that Connor will feel a little better about. Okay, now I feel
Again,
better.
all
about
these
that.
things can change. It's April 18th,
Correct.
right? Like, and
Correct.
all these can change.
That was a really good one though, and I'm not sure it might be very much better than mine.
As promised. The next segment we'll do the positive.
Right.
Bad news first, always.
I always want bad news first. And I hate people who do that, by the way. Just hit me with the bad news, and then you can surprise. I don't like that. Or don't freak out.
Yeah. The only
My wife has pulled the don't freak out multiple times in marriage, and it bothers me.
Why are you freaking out? She tells you
Don't
not
freak
to.
out. Yeah, my daughter's on the way to the emergency room.
Yeah, but that's why you lead with don't freak out, because she's fine, ultimately.
Jesse Palmer and I having a conversation at the Super Bowl. My wife, don't freak out. Right
don't
before
freak
Super
out.
Bowl
And you're
kickoff.
going, what?
I'm bringing Olivia to the emergency room. My little girl. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
All right, we'll get to the positives coming up next. What are we most confident in going into the 2025 season for the Philadelphia Eagles? We'll do that next. You can answer these questions as well at 610-632-0975. It is a Championship Friday on Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A strong start for Sanchez. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies took the series finale against the Giants yesterday afternoon, a 6-4 win for the Titans, and Christopher Sanchez had a strong start on the mound. He struck out 12 over 7 innings of work. That's a career high for Sanchez. Kyle Schwarber also went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs at the dish. Rob Thompson talked about Christopher Sanchez's performance after the game.
As good as you're going to get, I think. I mean, or as good as I've seen. I mean, a lot of swing and miss. It was just diving into the ground. He was really good today, and we needed that.
The changeup was working. Everything was working for Sanchez on the mound, and the Phils did need that one. Nick Castellanos, they didn't need this. He left the game early with a hip flexor injury, but the good news, Rob Thompson also said he expects him to be good for today's game against the Marlins. Game 1 against the Fish is at Citizens Bank Park tonight, 6:45. Zach Wheeler toes the rubber against Sandy Alcantara. A great pitching matchup there. Flyers season, well, it came to an end last night, 5-4 loss to Buffalo. Their next up is the offseason. Looking forward to the draft. And under a week till the NFL draft, we'll have some great content for you previewing what the Eagles could do. This update's brought to you by Moyer Indoor Outdoor Services. Follow Andrew Salciunas' lead and get a jump on a lush green lawn this spring right now. Go to eMoyer.com for free estimates. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hall of Fame baseball insider Jason Stark.
Here's the way I look at it.
740 segment because I heard something this morning, and normally I save it for the show, but it was so insane that I had to play it for John and Connor. And so we'll do that coming up at 740. But first, as promised,
It was insane.
it was insane. But as promised, I wanted to get into sort of the thing you're most confident in going into the 2025 season for the Philadelphia Eagles, because this all starts, in case you're just tuning in. John had this thought yesterday, and we took note of it to put it part of the show today, that there could be a chance that there's tape out on Vic Fangio's defense, and doesn't mean they're going to suck, but could it be a big enough difference where, it hurts them a little bit
It's happened 4 times when he was a DC,
for other teams? Yeah.
where he was his best season that he puts on the board. There is a distinct drop off the next year.
Right. And again, we don't know how many players changed, right?
don't.
Usually when you have the number 1 ranked defense, guys get pilfered like Milton Williams,
yeah, exactly.
right, for $100 million to the New England Patriots. So there might be context to all of it, but John's just basing it off of numbers that he saw. And so last segment, we went into what's the thing you're most sort of concerned about going into the Eagles season. You said Patullo. I said
Number
the wear
1.
and tear of Saquon Barkley. And Connor said the right side of that secondary for the Eagles defense. Now, what is the thing that you're most confident in going into the 2025 season where you say, hey, I know that this is going to be good. I know that this is going to be great. This is not something that I'm worried about at all.
I'm absolutely confident that the Eagles' offensive line will still be one of the top 3 in football. And to me, that just lets you sleep at night.
You get that etched. You can etch that in the stone.
Right. They're going to be one of the top 3
That's
in football.
that's a 10 commandment.
I absolutely have. There's zero reason to question it. There's zero reason to be concerned about it. There's still enough youth. There's still enough energy. And there's a great coach coaching that unit up.
Yep.
And to me, if you're a fan of any team and you have that energy of going, yeah, I believe completely in my offensive or defensive line, that's a beautiful place to live.
Yeah, and that's what the Eagles believe in, and that's what the Eagles continue to target, and that's why you're still thinking there's either a defensive tackle going off the board at 32,
right.
edge rusher, or they're thinking about the eventual replacement for Lane Johnson because they are smart with what they do in terms of the steps down the line in the draft at certain positions, the positions they care about the most, offensive and defensive line. Connor, I'll let you go. I want to know, what are you most confident going into the 2025 season for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Jalen Hurts is going to be a winner.
Damn it, why are you stealing all my stuff?
Sorry, buddy. Great minds.
See, I should have gone first.
Listen, like Jalen Hurts, and this is going to be a conversation as we get closer to the season. The last time he went to the Super Bowl, his following year was messy, right? And
it was quite messy.
He had a great year in 2023. So your numbers about Vic Fangio, John, you can make the argument in a much smaller sample size for Jalen Hurts. But when I look at the Super Bowl MVP, the guy who had great games when it mattered most and has done that in his career, both in college and in the pros, and has seemingly come into his own as a leader of this team, I think Eagles fans can sleep easy at night knowing that number 1 is the quarterback of this team. There will be criticisms because he's not going to be Josh Allen. He's not going to be Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he has a Super Bowl ring, so he can't be either one of those guys.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the aesthetic of Jalen Hurts' game is not going to significantly change where he's throwing for 5,000 yards. But he's going to be a guy that puts his team in position to win pretty much every week.
I do believe he has to throw more this year, though. Like, I think he's going to, because of the Saquon wear and tear,
Probably.
right? Like, the reason why I was going to say Hurts, I wanted to kind of marry my biggest concern with the thing that I'm most confident in.
You're already married. That'd make you a bigamist.
Yes. Polygamist.
A bigamist is if you get married twice.
Oh.
A polygamist, if you want just to get marry a bunch of people.
Yeah, multiple marriages.
Yeah, well, if 2, why not 4?
Connor, 1 is enough.
Even though I think Saquon might have a bit of a step back because of the wear and tear from last year, I think Jalen is ready to take that next step as a quarterback. I do.
Okay.
So I'm with you on that one, Connor.
I don't think he needs the next step. Like, what's the next step?
Sustain.
Yeah, it's
Sustain excellence.
Sure. But like
that's the next step. Sustain.
That's just consistency. I don't see that as another step. I say
how
that.
about this?
No, it's sustain excellence.
NFC Championship and Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts. I think we're going to need to, and I think we will see that like over the course of the season.
That'd
You
be
won't
great.
need to.
What? With this schedule?
You don't need 55 and 40 against 2 of the best teams in
No,
football.
I'm not talking about the point total. I'm talking about him precision passing, which, again,
Yeah.
there was a reason why they changed the offense last year. He was bad for the first 4 weeks.
First 4 weeks.
First 4 weeks of the season. Like, there was a legitimate reason why they changed the offense, and I was calling for it. I'm now predicting that it's a little bit back to a more passer-friendly offense
Against a much tougher schedule.
because he's going to have to. Like you said, they're going to give up more points next year. They're
Absolutely.
not going to. What was it? 17 points a game. They ended up
crazy.
averaging out.
It's awesome.
It's going to go up into the 20s, low 20s, but it's going to go up. He's going to have to throw more, and there's probably going to be games where Saquon can't carry the ball 35 times.
Don't go up much further than 20.
Yeah,
Then that is a much different season.
yeah, I totally got you. But if I give you one more, so that we don't have the same one.
Okay.
You asked me a question when I was in Clearwater. I still remember you called in. You asked me about, am I concerned that there's not as much leadership, like the veteran leadership?
Yeah.
I really do believe that, like, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, and Nolan Smith, this band of Georgia brothers, I really do believe it's like a collective group leadership. And you obviously have Reed Blankenship, who Darius Slay said will be part of the leadership council. The fact that those 4 players from Georgia had all the success and, of course, played at the highest level in college and have now seen the highest level in the NFL, I think those 4 guys don't take any sort of steps back. I think they take steps forward, and I think they start to be sort of like the leaders of the defense.
I don't believe that Jalen Carter is ever going to be a leader.
Yeah,
I
but
think he's going to be a great player.
But can he lead by example, much like a Bryce Harper, right? Like,
Yeah.
Jalen Carter, these guys were not afraid to be coached by Vic Fangio.
No, not at all.
Right? Whereas Jalen Ramsey and the Miami Dolphins peed themselves because Vic Fangio raised his voice toward them. Right? Whereas these guys, the guys who are arguably the better players on your defense, if they're rocking with Vic and they usher in the next young crop of players, you're going to have a lot of new rookies on this team defensively.
Well, Nakobe's got to lead by being actually playing.
Yeah.
And being on the field. You can be all the rah-rah you want. When he plays, he can be a leader, but
Yes, he can.
I'm not worried that he's going to be – I'm very concerned that he's going to be healthy.
Right? Because it's been a bit of an issue for him.
It's been the issue.
But you also still have, again, Carter, Davis, Smith. Like, that's still
but I don't
3
consider
guys.
Carter a leader just by his – I've watched him since high school.
I know.
So when he was being drafted, I don't think he's a leader. I think he's a guy that is a great player.
But if he doesn't turn off Vic Fangio, that means he's leading by example.
No,
right? That
absolutely.
means other players are going to go, oh, wait, I should fall in line with somebody that's going to arguably want to be one of the better players in the NFL on defense?
Like he can be a Rodgers type of leader. Now, Aaron Rodgers is not a leadership guy by personality, but his teams won because partially his talent, but also when you play with a player that talented, you're forced to up your game to that level.
I've kind of fallen in line with what that person's saying until the drugs start coming into.
I'm not even saying what they're saying. I'm saying when you see someone who is great at their craft, it inherently pushes players to say, I got to be at that guy's level. If you're a true competitor, a true pro, seeing Jalen Carter monster double teams is going to make other players on that defense be like, yo, that guy's putting the work in. That guy's getting the job done. I got to up my game so I can play
and if he's playing well against double teams.
Put the work in.
Yeah, he did. And
Right.
if he's playing well against double teams, I better play well against one-on-one matchups.
Yeah, Nakobe can talk to people. Nolan Smith can talk to people. Jalen Carter's just got to kill quarterbacks.
Again, Nakobe Dean from Kirby Smart. Quote, on a microphone, smartest player he ever coached.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just needs to stay healthy.
You just, and that's a big issue. But
It
we'll see.
really is.
We'll see how it works.
All right, coming up next, we'll check our text line on our Phillies and Eagles topic so far this morning at 610-632-0975. Also, before we check our text line, would you guys like to hear something that absolutely is not going to happen? Because we have something for you. This is when Draft Talk has officially jumped the shark. This less than a week away from the NFL draft, where everybody has their 18 mock drafts and have pretty much said everything that they've had to say. Now they're just trying to find something else to say. And this one is ridiculous. And it involves the Eagles and who they could draft in the second round. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Head to the contest page at 975thefanatic.com and enter for a chance.
Thursday, Friday
Well,
until
it's
the season starts again.
First time
Thursday, Friday
Well,
until
it's
the season starts again.
First time ever, then. If it's the first time ever, who are you?
I'm Andrew Salciunas. You're John Kincade.
That's Connor Thomas.
That's Connor Thomas, our
Hello.
producer. Haley and Brendan in the back. Show
Yes.
number 283,
283.
according to the show sheet here.
That is 283.
Love that. All right, we'll get to our text messages here momentarily.
Uh-oh.
But this morning, I like to check out NBC Sports Philadelphia, ESPN, Fox, CBS, all the other sports networks, just like throw in stuff, right? Like, all right, what can I add into the show today? Like,
Sure.
I have something in the 9 o'clock hour today that has nothing to do with Philadelphia sports, but it has everything to do with things that John Kincade does not like. The problem is, I don't know which side he'll go on. However, Ran Carthon,
Yes.
in case people don't know who he is,
The former GM of the Titans.
he was the GM of the Titans for 2 years, did not last long. He drafted Will Levis. Not necessarily the best drafts. He was a Vrabel. Did he fire Vrabel? Well, I know ownership wanted to move on, so I can't blame him for it. That was an owner's decision, which I still can't believe. Obviously, Derrick Henry goes to Baltimore. He had a rough time as the general manager of the Tennessee Titans. Before that, he played in the NFL. He was part of the Falcons front office for some things. So now he's doing the media stuff.
Okay.
And I always worry, like, all right, are you trying to say something to try to get yourself on the map, or do you actually believe this? So Ran was on with CBS, one of the shows, and was talking about Jalen Milroe, quarterback.
Okay. I do like Jaden, but I like him.
Quarterback, Alabama,
Yeah.
right? Some had him as like a top 10 pick. Some have him as a back end of the first round pick. That's the beauty of mock drafts and leading up to the draft. Guys slide, guys ride, it's all over the place. So he has Jalen Milroe sliding into the second round. Take a listen who he thinks the Eagle or who should draft Jalen Milroe. Go ahead.
The irony of Howie Roseman drafting another former Alabama quarterback who has traits out of this world, but there were some questions about the consistency of the passing. But adding a player like a Jalen Milroe, which in a situation which he's not forced to have to play early, is a really good thing for both the Eagles and as well as Jalen Milroe.
When is he going to play? First off, hold on. He puts him in a situation where he's not going to have to play early. So when is he going to play?
Last 2 minutes of the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. Let's break this down a little bit, Johnny.
This is incredible.
They have 75 needs. All right?
Yes.
Backup quarterback is not one of them. Now, look, I said the same thing back in 2020.
Now, there better be a quarterback drafted on the third day,
Sure.
but that's fine.
But first off, they really like Tanner McKee. Unless he's going to get traded, which I don't.
I had people saying
that
to me
happening?
yesterday on Twitter, went back and forth. You could get a third or a fourth round pick for Tanner McKee. No, you can't. I'm here to tell you right now, no, you can't. Nobody's going Tanner McKee. They have third round pick? No. You got to learn the value of draft
By the way, why?
Why do you want to get rid of him? You just got rid of your backup quarterback.
And that's the other thing. Like, if you trade him away, unless it's a team that's trading for him to be a starter,
correct.
Why are you trading your backup quarterback just to be a backup somewhere else?
Because
And
you're
you already did that with Kenny Pickett.
And exactly. Once that was done, you're not moving
and
it.
you
But also,
and you trade Pickett so that you could move off Tanner. They like Tanner McKee more than Kenny Pickett.
You are not getting a third round pick or fourth round pick, I don't believe, for Tanner McKee.
Now,
So it's not happening.
so you don't need a backup quarterback. How in the world does any of that make sense? So the Hurts thing, when they drafted Hurts when they already had Wentz, even though I did not like it, I understood that Carson Wentz had an injury history.
Well, it was 3 years in a row.
And they clearly realized that there was something going on upstairs that just was not going to work out.
Well, it was 17, 18, 19. He
Yeah.
was injured in all 3 years. So they realized you better have something more behind him.
And I know Hurts has gotten dinged up, but
Well, he's missed games too every year.
but to the point where you're thinking we should draft a backup quarterback
No.
in the second round
No, absolutely not.
when you need so many other things.
I think we know where Rand Carthon. I think we know now why he's on CBS HQ.
and not the GM of the Titans anymore.
Yeah, I think we know. I think that might be the spoiler alert if you're trying to figure it out.
When I heard that this morning, I had to play it for you guys.
Yes.
Who thinks that that's a possibility? Honestly.
Ran Carthon does. No other employed general manager does. They're not doing that.
And again, that is the official moment
that's crazy.
where Draft Talk has jumped the shark for me.
Yes.
Right? Can't wait for the draft to happen. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for Andrew Checo next week.
Well, here's the two. What you're going to now prepare to be flooded with this. I told you before where Mort was like, would tell me, John, anything you hear within 10 days, it's liar's season.
Yeah.
Teams are going to try to get you off the scent.
But that was
what they're doing.
was an opinion.
Okay, that's an opinion which makes no sense. But here's what you're going to hear leading up to the draft now. Now comes the players that have been built up out of left field are going to start to get torn down. And players that have maybe been hyper-criticized are going to get built up. Guarantee it. That'll be your draft coverage next week.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
from us, though.
Leading up
We've got
to it,
Checo. And we got Jeff McClain. And we got Adam Schefter.
Yeah,
so
we
got
you covered. Don't
covered.
worry. All right. What do we have on the text line? By the way, who's the quarterback from Louisville? Tyler what? Tyler what's his name?
I don't even know.
John Black. Why?
Remember we heard him on the overnight.
Yes.
They were like, "Oh, he could go as high as 9 to the Saints." It's like,
well, his pro day was terrible.
He's 25 years old. Who's drafting a 25-year-old quarterback at that 9th overall pick?
And it was terrible. So he was missing intermediate throws left and right.
To your point,
7-10-yard completions.
To your point, this is where we're at this
Correct.
point of draft talk. All right, what do we have on the text line?
So Bruce checks in. He says,
Bruce.
I've got no negativity towards the Phillies at the moment, except one thing. Center field, Crawford absolutely should be called up today. No way he's worse than what the Phillies currently have.
Yeah, there's
And
no
he
way
isn't.
he's worse. There's no way.
And and I promise you, whatever they're telling you he's working on, it will be fixed right after the date where his eligibility that they don't lose a year of control happens. Then it'll be like, yeah, we really wanted him to cook more.
Yeah.
He's doing.
He really figured it out.
Against AAA pitching, which is nothing like Major League pitching.
4 for 5 yesterday.
I'm not so sure he will be up right after that. Like it may
Well, it depends on what these guys are doing.
Yeah, I got you. Like, so if it waits till later in the season, if he's an early July guy or something, or a late June guy, we may have to reevaluate the reasoning. Do you guys know, because I've been trying to look it up, the date of when the service time goes out the window?
Usually it's around, I think, third week of May.
I found it, 100? It's 178 days in a season.
Yeah, it's like, I think, third week of May.
Okay.
And the thing is, though, Connor, with that, is there are factors that could change it, though.
Yeah.
The factors that could change it are they're holding him, and then all of a sudden we get Marsh on a heater, or you get Rojas looking like he actually can play for a while, and you stretch it out even more because you want to be able to say, hey, anybody want Marsh or Rojas?
Right.
And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing.
I promise you this, is if you talk to people around the Phillies, they will tell you that it's service time. That's the number one factor of why he's not up.
Yeah.
Is service time.
And there's some
these
organizations.
are people with the Phillies every single day.
Right. And look, the Phillies aren't the only organization that do that.
No,
right?
a lot of organizations do.
I always bring up the Cubs with Chris Bryant. And I know this is years ago now, but there's a lot of organizations that do that. Whereas there's teams like the Braves who go,
oh, you're 20?
Yeah, come on up.
You're 19? We'll take it.
Can you drive? Are you old enough to drive? All right. Drive to the ballpark because you're starting today. All right, coming up next, we'll reset our topics. We'll check our text line a little bit more about the Phillies and then also the Eagles. Biggest concern going to 25? Biggest confidence boost going into 2025? And does anybody think the Eagles will draft Jalen Milroe? No, we don't have to talk about it.
No, we don't need to do that. But the Giants could with their pick.
Yes, they could. All right, coming up next, we'll check our text line. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Friday, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils split the series. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies took the series finale against the Giants yesterday with a 6-4 win, and that splits the series with San Francisco. Christopher Sanchez had an awesome start. 12 strikeouts over 7 innings of work. His changeup was nasty. It's the most strikeouts he's had in an appearance in his career. Kyle Schwarber also went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs at the plate. Rob Thompson talked about Sanchez's strikeout stuff in that performance after the game.
As good as you're going to get, I think. I mean, or as good as I've seen. I mean, a lot of swing and miss. It was just diving into the ground. He was really good today, and we needed that.
They definitely needed him to put together that good start, and now the Phillies need to build a little momentum. Now, Nick Castellanos, some rough news on him yesterday, potentially with a hip flexor injury. He left the game, but Rob Thompson also said he expects him to be good for today's game against the Marlins, so it seems like a dodged bullet there. Game 1 at Citizens Bank Park is at 6:45 this evening. Zach Wheeler faces Sandy Alcantara. Flyer season came to an end last night, a 5-4 loss to Buffalo. They're looking forward to the draft in the offseason now, and we're looking forward to the NFL draft. We've got under a week, so we'll keep you updated on what the Birds could do. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. Choose one that's built to be, when you need a new water heater, choose one that's built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ricky Vitalico.
Alex Bohm.
Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. You know, obviously on draft day, we're so focused on what the Eagles will do. We're going to obviously keep a close eye on the division teams, right? So what do the Giants end up doing with the 3rd overall pick? The Cowboys have a pretty juicy draft pick of their own. What do the Commanders do after their NFC Championship game appearance?
We got to look at that next week.
Yeah, and
I'm
have
a little discussion of that because it is. I mean, these guys should get a huge impact player that not necessarily is going to swing the balance of power in 25.
Right.
But could affect this division for years to come.
No, absolutely. And so I just saw, this was yesterday on NFL Live.
I love NFL Live.
Shefty was asked about Shedeur Sanders and where he could land in the NFL draft. He goes, quote, "It certainly feels like his range is 3 to 21.
Correct. Because if he doesn't get taken in the top 3, he's dropping.
And he said, I don't like the chances of him going 9. So that means Schefter knows something about the Saints.
I don't think the Saints want him.
Right.
And I think it's just hearing some of the conversations. NFL Live, I DVR it every day.
Yeah, they're great.
And then go, and I might watch a couple segments of it. I watch the whole thing.
See what they're talking about.
But see if it's a topic that really jumps out at me. But one of the things they're saying is that it seems like Kellen Moore and them, they do believe wouldn't mind being in the hunt for Arch Manning and the top quarterback. The quarterback class next year is better.
Yeah.
And he's got time. They're going to give Kellen Moore time to build this thing.
Right, because they're coming out of
hell.
Garbage.
And they're gonna be in cap hell this year. Yeah. And next year too, by the way.
But I can't wait. This draft's going to be a lot. I mean, the draft's always fun, but I love that the Eagles, I don't know the direction they're going to go in. I have my opinion. I have my thought, defensive tackle, but it depends on how the board falls. And oh, by the way, is that D tackle at 32? Is it a little bit higher or is it lower? Or do they trade out? But then there's so many other big storylines. And even though, like, I don't think Shedeur Sanders is like some top quarterback, the fact that it is Shedeur Sanders, the name, everything about it, like that does add intrigue to me in the draft.
I am very anxious tomorrow morning to catch a little bit of early birds.
Hell yeah.
On the Fanatic with Andrew DeCecco because he is going to reveal his final mock draft.
Yes, and I love that he's going to do it on the air. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and he saved it for early birds.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We'll react to it
on Monday morning.
And then on Thursday, and then Friday as well.
That'll be good.
You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Phillies and Eagles on the table. Our Phillies question is whether or not this team so far this year feels like more the first half Phillies from last year or the second half Phillies from last year.
If anyone says first half, they didn't watch the first half.
That's true.
They didn't watch. It was their epic best first half ever.
Now,
as a franchise,
our man Joe the Cynic is checked in with with a cynic-y type tweet.
Okay.
How different would things be if the Phillies didn't start the season with the Nationals and Rockies? Because they did win.
They beat the two best. They're 4-3 against the two best teams they played. So I say to Joe, hell no, Joe. Maybe their record would even be better.
Could be.
Could be.
Who knows? All right. Let's check our text line because we've gone away from it for a little bit. I want to hear what the people are saying about the Phillies discussion and the Eagles as well. If you want to answer any of the questions, we brought up the April 18th biggest concern going into the season and the April 18th confidence booster going into the season for the Eagles. These will obviously change as we continue to talk during OTAs and training camp and post-free agency, second wave, post-draft, you name it.
That's a lot of things.
There's a lot of things that are going on, and we have a lot to say, Johnny. What do we got on the text line, Connor?
Mike from Phoenixville checks in on the Phillies, and he says Mikey Miss's take was spot on yesterday. This team has talent, obviously, but it's so stale at this point. You know what they are. And sure, they'll make the playoffs, but without any changes, I think the eye test says this team can't make a significant run at a World Series, at least as of now.
You know what
That's
kind of
ridiculous.
sucks? You know what kind of sucks? I'll say this. And no, it's not as bad as the Sixers. But you know what it kind of feels like? It's this team's not going to be the same in a couple months, so I just have to wait.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
Do you think this bullpen's going to be the same?
No.
Do you think the center field's going to be the same?
No. But that doesn't mean
Do you think they're going to add a right-handed pop bat?
But the key components that are already here, if they don't step up and do what they're expected to do, none of that other stuff you're talking about is going to matter.
Oh,
If Trey-
absolutely.
If Trey Turner, if Trey
absolutely.
Turner doesn't start to hit like a $300 million player, which he doesn't appear that he's on any trend to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If center field doesn't get if Trey Turner doesn't do it, if Schwarber doesn't continue to be Schwarber's the best April ever.
He's been great, yeah.
I mean, you've got to say Castellanos, can he keep it up?
Right.
There's a lot
But if you have
things
if
you're
you
worried
have
about.
2 automatic outs and your bullpen is you could have 7 great innings from your starting pitching and your offense could be up 4-1. If the bullpen blows up, it blows up.
They will get a competent center fielder.
Right, and so that's why I'm saying it feels like the Sixers, where every year at the Sixers, it's, all right, here's your roster to start. James Harden's on the team, but you know he's not going to be on the team. Ben Simmons is on the team, but you know he's not going to be on the team. Look at all these veterans we have. We're going to try to move them for other things down the road. That's kind of been the Sixers. Forget this year because this was drastic. But the last 5 years, the roster you started the season with, you knew was not going to be the roster that you were going to end with. And that's kind of how it feels with the Phillies. And I just kind of have to wait.
Can we forget that this year was so bad with the Sixers, please? Yes.
I'm trying.
Yeah, we could move on. But like with the Phillies, I don't know. That's baseball. There's 162 games, right? So stuff is not going to happen immediately. You need time for this to bake in. Point to me the postseason game that Brandon Marsh or Johan Rojas has lost you. Like, point to me the game where a bullpen pitcher that was not in your top 3 has lost you.
Well,
like
Jeff Hoffman last year.
in your top 3.
Oh, this year.
That's what I'm saying. So if we're looking at like Alvarado,
Yeah, but I'd rather
and
have Jeff
Kerkering-
Hoffman here than anyone in our bullpen.
I understand. But our problems are with guys like Joe Ross and Tanner Banks. And right now, Jordan Romano is not in your top 3. Like, Kerkering has been good. Alvarado has been good, even though he's been shaky. Strom has been very good. Like, ultimately, the reason the Phillies haven't won in the postseason has been on guys like Harper and Schwarber and Turner and Castellanos. And those are guys that are going to be here all season. Those are the guys you need to watch. Like, Marsh doesn't make a playoff difference.
He can help.
He can help.
Don't say he doesn't make a playoff difference.
He can help.
If he lets a ball drop because he didn't take a good read on it.
Or you
I
mean
understand.
like he did in Game 5 of the World Series
Yeah.
Right.
against Houston when he totally misplayed a ball that should have been an easy one.
Yeah,
and
he can-
gave the
but
Astros
the
a
problem-
lead.
You can hurt.
The problem with that was you got no hit in Game 4.
Yep.
And you also had a bad decision by the manager to pull a starter that was your ace in a spot where he shouldn't have been pulled.
Yep, Captain Hook.
At the end of the day, the problems that we have right now with this team are not the determination of their ceiling. Their ceiling is determined by the guys making hundreds of millions of dollars to be some of the best players on the planet, and if they're going to do that in October.
And Trey Turner, 2 missing Octobers. That's a huge
Well, and that's the thing. Like, do you have the confidence in those guys? Like,
I don't.
Like, I have the confidence in Harper and Castellanos
I do.
and Schwarber.
And Schwarber. Trey Turner, I do not.
But and that's one of your key guys, right? So,
But like that, you can watch right now. That's what
I
you
can
can't-
watch that. Maybe it changes my opinion by August, September. Maybe it could.
That's what I'm saying. Like the pieces that are going to change are going to help your floor, but the ceiling exists on the backs of your best players, and that's how baseball works. And you already have those guys here, so those are the guys that you're watching.
okay.
That's for me. Connor, you and I are on the same page today. That's scary. It
Scares me.
Scary as hell.
Give us another text message. What do we got?
All right, so we have a check-in. Speaking of being scared of stuff, the Vic Fangio conversation about his backslide in numbers in
Whenever his
secondary.
best season, yes.
Yeah, and other years after he's been there. This texter says Andy Reid, one of the greatest offensive minds ever, had a full season of tape and 2 weeks, and he couldn't figure out a thing against Vic Fangio.
That sounds like he was listening to Andrew Salciunas.
Okay, but you're also going to tell me you're going to pick the absolute outlier of Andy Reid and the absolute outlier of Vic Fangio. That Andy Reid. I think Vic Fangio, part of the reason Vic Fangio was able to stump Andy Reid so much is the talent of the team that he was coaching.
Well, and again, that's what it comes down to. I don't think if the Eagles defense has a slide, when we first talked about this an hour ago, if there's a slide from the Eagles defense, I don't think it's because of the book on Fangio. I think
it'd be more one.
losing Sweat, Williams, Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Oren Burks.
Here's what I'm hoping right now, and we'll save this for summer, but just because I don't want to just hold it here, is that I'm hoping that the Eagles defense will still be in the single digits next year. And it's not trying to be alarmist or anything. I'm hoping that they can be a top 9 defense. I am not in any way sure of it with the schedule that they have to face.
Hey, we
And the guys
did
they lost.
ask for like at least middle of the pack last year.
Oh, no, I said that I thought like it was
You
going to be
thought
around.
they would have gone to an NFC Championship game even with a middle of the pack defense.
Yeah, I thought they're going to be 12. I said 12. I didn't expect 1. That wasn't even on my radar. But I also expected offense to be top 3, and they weren't.
Right, and they weren't.
And they weren't.
That's true. All right.
That was a different story.
So you can keep on texting us at 610-632-0975. Coming up next, we have today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
CT18's got some good stuff for us.
And then more in the 8 o'clock hour. As I mentioned, we've jumped the shark with draft content. Now we have redrafts.
What?
Yeah, like if the league redrafted today, how would it look?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts obviously is a part of this.
Interesting.
So I will tell you where Jalen Hurts would go if they redrafted, according to Fox. That comes your way around 8:25. But first, today's headlines with Connor Thomas comes your way next. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Friday here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Fanatic signing bonus.
Yes, your chance to win $1,000. 8:11 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Check out the deal of the week, 50% off 2 race tickets and 2 front stretch access passes for the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400 NASCAR Cup Series race.
That sounds great.
July 20th at Dover Motor Speedway. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. All right. Give us one more text, Connor, and then I would like to go to today's headlines with you. But what do we have on the text line?
So we have a check-in on the Vic Fangio thing, another text here, and they say, just like great minds are poached, good players on elite defense are always poached. So they're agreeing with the point of the players leaving more than Vic Fangio, the book, getting out.
All I would say is that I did not do the research, and I would imagine the callers did not, or the texter did not either, as to whether that was the case.
It's just a theory that I had, right? Like,
yeah, it's a theory. And by the way, it's a very good working theory.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, Milton Williams got paid $100 million because Vic Fangio turned him into a stud.
There are defenses, though, that have great years that then sustain it with a great defense the next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't have the big drop.
Now, the Chiefs are one of those teams because they had a bunch of young players, right, that are under control.
They did. Remember the first year they beat the Eagles in 22, they had a very young defense. And then the next year, they came back and won the Super Bowl again with one of the top defenses. They were 16th the year they beat the Eagles. They were 16th.
And the Eagles have a very young defense. I know they lost some key players. They did. But they have core guys that are still on rookie deals that I don't think are going anywhere anytime soon. All right, it is time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Brought to us by who?
Our friends over at Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers, visit lundylaw.com. That's lundylaw.com. Now, A.J. Brown may need Lundy Law. We'll talk about that in a second. But we're going to lead this off with Lee Corso. He has decided that he is calling it a career. He's going to make his final headgear pick coming up on August 30th on College Game Day, and then he is done. So I want to give you guys a chance to talk about your memories of Lee Corso.
John, you have much more.
We're talking this
morning.
You
literally know him.
Lee, his son Dan and I are very good friends. He runs the Atlanta Sports Council. Lee Corso is a human being that you would be lucky to cross paths with once in your life.
Yeah.
He's a tremendous man, tremendous to everybody he knows. One of those guys who, like, the waiter, the valet, whoever gets to meet him has a story to tell. He's a tremendous person, tremendous father, tremendous grandfather. What a tremendous career.
Yeah.
But it is time. I mean, it's time to
He's 90 years old.
And he's been through that stroke, and the stroke was a bit debilitating. But the man is sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
And I love his relationship with Kirk Herbstreit. Like, I think it's beautiful.
He's like a son to him.
Yeah, it's amazing. But you know,
sometimes he likes him better than Dan, his son.
But it's sad, right? Like, I remember when I saw Jimmy Johnson get the nod that he was being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't know Jimmy Johnson as the Cowboys coach, right? Like, that wasn't our...
You don't even know him as the Miami coach.
Right. I know Jimmy Johnson as Fox NFL Sunday,
That's
right?
so crazy.
So, Lee Corso, even though I didn't really start getting into college football till like my mid-teens, Lee Corso's been in my house every Saturday during the football season for the last like 15 years.
I made dinner reservations for them when they came to town.
Did you really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, when they were coming to town.
But that's one of those.
He's
voices.
a tremendous dude.
It's like he's still alive. But it's like when we lost Harry, right? The anniversary was a week or two ago, right? Harry Callis was in my house every night during the spring, summer, and fall.
My mom loved Harry Callis. My dad loved Harry Callis.
So when they're a part of your life like that, it's sad when you hear the news that they're stepping down.
Yeah, time moves on. Lee Corso, great career. Shout out to him. Now, speaking of what we brought up before with the injuries that A.J. Brown may need help with, don't worry, Eagles fans, it's not to him.
Okay.
But he has a warning for the folks of Philadelphia about something I think we've all attended.
We have a fair in Philadelphia, and I would advise all of you to not go to this fair. Let me give you the perspective of a builder. So I like to build stuff at times. Sometimes it be challenging. Many different times where I try to put a screw in and it just don't go right. It don't fit right. And I leave it out and I continue building, right? Oh, it don't need it. That's exactly what they did at the fair. They say, okay, it's stable, right? The hell with all the other screws. We don't need them. No, you put your life at risk for a fair that's going to go round and around, round and around. And you going to go round and around. And so
There's no way I'm doing carny rides. I am
AJ
not
Brown either, apparently.
AJ Brown's smart. There's no way you're getting me on a carny ride.
So that carnival has been going on forever. And it's always the same time every single year. And, you know.
It seems earlier this year. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think it's right around this time. And
It's still freezing at night.
And look, I get what AJ Brown's saying. Like, how do you build that stuff? You take it down, you move it somewhere, you got to rebuild it.
Have you seen the people running the games? Seriously.
Yeah.
Not the games. I'm talking about the tilt-a-whirl.
Right.
I'm talking about that thing you put them in the
zipper.
The zipper. Yeah, you don't do that.
There's some things that, like, I'm glad that it's there every year. It's iconic. Baseball's back. Spring's here. Like, when I see that carnival, I know that it's springtime. I just don't necessarily need to go to the carnival.
I just think
with you guys.
You are?
Yeah, I'm with. Like,
you wouldn't get on it because but you're fearless. You say.
Listen, fearless within reason. But enjoy the carnival rides if they're your thing. AJ Brown had a bit of a warning. We'll round out with our replay from earlier on in the show.
Does this Phillies team feel like more of the first half Phillies team from last year, where they went off on a torrid start? And no, we're not going to say historic. Are they the plus 500 team or are they the 500 team? First half versus second half. So far through this season, they're 11-8. They've been good. They've been bad. The low points have been low, though, and that's the scary thing.
So I think we might have missed something here, boys.
What's that?
Because we were all kind of in agreement that they don't exactly feel like the start of last year's team. Maybe they've been better. So through 19 games last year, the Philadelphia Phillies had the exact same record. Last year's team was also 11-8. And listen to the teams that they played last year to get to that 11-8 record. Now, they opened up against Atlanta, but the rest of the teams they played to this point in the season, Cincinnati Reds, Washington Nationals, St. Louis Cardinals, Pittsburgh Pirates, the Colorado Rockies. They played nobody.
So they didn't have a Dodgers or a Giants in there.
You could make the argument that this is a better start to the season this year, just from a
No, I think
from
you
a
can.
win from a
No, I
win-loss
think you
record.
can.
Yeah, sure.
No, it's the same for the win-loss and the teams that they're playing.
Yeah.
Better.
I think you can.
Maybe we're just being a little too in the moment with
I
it.
think it's just, again, the lows are low this
I feel
year.
you. I imagine
More so than last year's lows.
I think we got to think back to some of the stuff that
I don't
they
think
did.
anybody was hitting under 100.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think you had three guys in the lineup hitting terribly.
Yeah. It's been pretty bad to start.
They lost their first two series of the year. I mean, like,
right.
it was a
And
tough
then they
start
went
at
off.
points.
So hopefully they go off here.
Yes, the book is not
that might
written.
be the best elixir for anybody being a little negative this morning.
And they got the Marlins tonight.
We get too caught in the moment sometimes.
Beat the fish.
Be careful
All
of the
right?
carnivals.
Yeah.
Careful of the carnies when it rolls into town.
All right.
And that's tough.
Good job,
Or
Connor.
the circus.
Or the circus.
When I worked at the Spectrum, when the circus came in, they literally would come by and put padlocks on our doors. They would install them and then deinstall them because they would come through the rafters.
Yeah, but I'm pro circus. Why do you think I work with you two clowns?
That works well.
Coming up next, NFL draft, less than a week away. So we're always trying to find content. What if the league did a redraft? Fox did that yesterday. I'll go through it with you guys. Also, it's been announced the special guest that will make the selections on draft weekend. I'll tell you who the Eagles player will be and some of the other key names that you would like to see during draft weekend. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
12Ks for Sanchez. I'm Connor Thomas, and this update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. That feeling of owning your first Mercedes-Benz is hard to believe, but it's real. From the leather stitching to the iconic design, every element of a Mercedes lives up to its reputation. See for yourself at your local dealer. The Phillies took the series finale against the Giants yesterday afternoon, a 6-4 win. Christopher Sanchez, outstanding. 12 strikeouts over 7 innings. That is a career high in strikeouts for him. Kyle Schwarber also went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Rob Thompson talked about Sanchez's start after the game.
As good as you're going to get, I think. I mean, or as good as I've seen. I mean, a lot of swing and miss. It was just diving into the ground. He was really good today, and we needed that.
Nick Castellanos did leave the game with a hip flexor issue, but Rob Thompson also said he expects him to be good for today's game against the Marlins. Game 1 of the series with Miami is at Citizens Bank Park tonight at 6:45. Zach Wheeler versus Sandy Alcantara, the pitching matchup. The Flyers season came to an end last night, a 5-4 loss to Buffalo. They're looking forward to the draft, and we're looking forward to the NFL draft. We're under a week until the Eagles make their selection. We'll have some great content for you previewing what the Eagles could do in the coming days. This update is also brought to you by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. Texting and driving, big risk, big consequences. You risk traffic tickets, fines, and if you crash and injure someone, you could even go to prison. Brought to you by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Bill Colarulo.
Friday.
It is Good Friday.
It's the day our Lord and Savior died.
But we have a
Wasn't
great
good for him.
We have a great special check-in that we got to go to on the Comcast Business Hotline
Wait
right
a minute.
now.
Unscheduled appearances? What is
Yes.
this?
Anybody thinks they could just call in? I didn't know our phones.
This guy definitely does when I just found out who it is.
Yeah, anybody can just call it. And this guy would want to talk to you about a recent update in your life, Andrew, with your professional career. So let's go to Mr. Jason Martinez.
Dude, what's going on, huh?
This is like a conundrum wrapped in a riddle, you two on a show.
I swear.
From so long ago in my past, and Andrew, who we birthed into this industry, now moving doing some ESPN national stuff.
It's your early life versus I knew you in your high school life at first.
Yeah.
And then we kept in touch for years after
Which
that.
life did you like better?
Remember when is the lowest form of conversation, is what Tony Soprano said.
Yes, he did.
The most overrated show of all time. Did I say that
And
out
by
loud?
the way, Jason Martinez now 7 steps. Every week I have to give him a little soft kick in the ass just to make sure he's going on. 7 treatments in, waiting for number 8.
So you're kicking ass, man. It's awesome.
I'm very proud of you, dude.
Yeah, sometimes those kicks in the ass are hard, but I need them.
Yeah, it brings me back. It brings me back when your dad was in his nice long coat up in the stands. Never bothered me once as a coach. One of the greatest parents in my Hall of Fame. But he rolled his eyes at you quite often.
Oh yeah, no doubt, and he's doing it from above now.
He's proud of you.
There's
No, he'd be damn proud of you, as your mama would be.
Yeah, that's nice of you to say. 7 down, 1 to go, but. I remember I hired Andrew he hadn't even graduated out of Temple yet.
Yeah.
You had an eye for talent.
Yeah, Matt Nahagan asked me if I was going to drop out of college. I said, I think my mom and dad would kill me if I just dropped out when I had 2 weeks left. So thanks for talking him into waiting a little bit.
What did you see in him,
We waited to have you join the show and permanently, and geez, man, now you're doing ESPN on the weekends, and you got kids, you're doing morning.
Are you expecting a cut? Is that what this is about?
Yeah. We got a deal in place. It's those Apple lollipops that you saw me tweet out the other week, Jason.
Well, let's just say I'll be by every 2 weeks. You know what the VIG is.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
give me an envelope.
I got you covered. No, but seriously, man, thank you again for everything.
And Mert,
can you believe it's been almost 11 years now that I've been here?
Oh my goodness, no! I can't.
Sorry to make you feel older.
Yeah, I remember.
Dude,
for years,
this guy's just fighting for his life. Yeah. This guy's just fighting for his life right now. You're not worried about feeling older because you're going to become stronger than ever. I know how stubborn an SOB you are.
Yeah, like right now, it's your day to day.
Yep.
Sometimes you feel like you're minute to minute because things can pivot on a dime, but I got a lot of life in front of me and a long way to go. And this is going to be, I hate to say a blip on the radar because it's going to impact me and it's going to change me forever. It already has. But it's part of life going through it, and a lot of people go through it. So first of all, get your colonoscopies. You don't have to go through what I'm going through and John went through. Get your colonoscopies and listen to your body, which I did not do.
I didn't do that either, Mert. And that's what I regret because I was 2 years out of needing another colonoscopy. And by that ignorance ended up costing me.
Yeah, because they could have just maybe removed a polyp or something like that. Yeah, I had the symptoms like they had neon signs like I was in Vegas on a strip telling me get to the doctor for 18 months, and I denied it. And I regret it obviously now, but I go, okay, what can I do with this whole thing? This thing that I got to go through now, well, can be to tell people to listen to their bodies so they can avoid going through what you went through, the hell, and what I'm going through right now, the hell of Andy Dufresne trying to get out of Shawshank Redemption, crawling through 3 miles of you-know-what to get to that beach.
There you go.
That was the length of 3
fourth pick in the
fields.
Fourth pick in the lottery. You got a 20% chance of moving up for the Flyers. What do you like? I mean, 1 out of 5 chance that you're going to improve your spot. And I don't know. I'm optimistic that can happen. 20% isn't crazy.
Yeah, this isn't one of those generational drafts, you know.
Right.
Like I look back at 2017, and they said the drop off of that draft was after the top 2 after Heischer and Patrick. But Flyers moved up to 13-2. Like, oh, look at this! And obviously they drafted Patrick. He's not even in the league anymore. team that like Colorado that lost was the worst team in the league, 21 points worse than the second worst team in the league, ended up with the 4th pick. And they got Cale Makar and won a cup in 2022.
Exactly.
You know, so yeah, you got to find the right guy no matter where you pick, and develop them. And we'll see. You know, I thought the team played with a lot of integrity last night. I believe in the hockey gods. I believe in integrity in sport, as I know you guys do too. They didn't mail it in and try and get a worse draft pick down the stretch, and we'll see if the hockey gods shine upon Philadelphia, because it's an important market for the NHL.
How did it feel to be back in the barn, by the way, the other day? I bet that must have felt great.
Yeah, it was a goal I set for myself. Going back to when you're an athlete, you never want to end the season, hurt and not out there and walking off the field or a play or whatever it is. And it was a goal of mine to get to one more game. So I hadn't been there since December. And it was just a couple of days after my last treatment, and I knew it was going to be tough. And earlier that day, I had a hard time getting up and down the stairs, let alone thinking about going and doing the game. But I just said, you know what, screw this. I'm not surrendering. I'm going to that game tonight. And it was awesome to be there. It helped me.
I bet the over on Mishkov before the year of his 47.5 points. I think 62 is a pretty nice number. I'm glad to see he didn't get destroyed, as people were telling me, by his head coach.
Yeah, he must have really destroyed him. Huh?
He destroyed him. Just one of amazing. He blew the Vegas number by 15.
Yeah, he did. He outperformed my number actually by 1.
Really? Okay.
I based his numbers what they would be compared to Bedard's rookie year.
Sure.
He bested it by 1 goal, and that was the difference. So
that's amazing.
And 2 of them last night. Look, he's a budding superstar. We know that. You got that coming in town. Just got to surround him. No one man can win in team sport, as we've seen. But he is the worst of price of admission, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah. Look, absolutely. It's exciting. Listen,
love you, Mert.
Jason, thanks for calling in, man. We appreciate it. Again, thank you for everything for my career. So thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And keep kicking ass, brother.
Yeah, you too, man. I'm proud of you, and proud of both you guys. I've known you guys for a long time. I've known Kincade since the 80s, and I had hair.
You did have hair. And he had long hair.
I had the mullet back then.
Hey, good lettuce.
And wait, you did not wear your earring in my presence.
No, I wasn't an earring guy then, but
there's no earring,
But always a metalhead, man.
You were a metalhead.
Damn right,
got him ready for games.
Damn right, I learned all about Pantera thanks to Jason Martinez.
Yeah. There you go.
You're the man, brother.
No hip hop playing in my locker room, boys.
No, there was not. There you go, buddy.
There he is, our man,
Thanks,
Jason
guys.
Martinez, a special call-in on the Comcast.
That's
Business
great.
Hotline.
As the Flyers season ended last night, the Flyers flagship, we will wait for we have a special day planned, the day of the draft lottery, some little game we're going to play that day.
Absolutely.
Hey, you have a 1 out of 5 chance to improve position. Not bad.
I still remember before I got hired for Middays, we had to do an official interview before I was the producer of the Midday show. And I showed up in a suit and tie, as I believe you should.
Yes.
And as I walked in, he goes, "What are you all dressed up for?"
Exactly.
And that made me nice and
Put you at ease, right?
Yeah,
Jason's
right?
the best, man.
I walked in, he goes, "What are you dressed up for?" I go, "All right, this should be fun."
Connor, he is the best. One of the greatest hockey players I ever coached, but I will tell you this. It was exhausting.
Hey, mullet guys are, man.
It was exhausting.
All right, coming up next, we'll do this Fox NFL redraft. I'm curious to see where you guys would think Jalen Hurts would go in it compared to what they believe where Jalen Hurts would go. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Friday, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
Brandon Marsh is hitting $1.08. Dombrowski gets paid a lot of money.
975 The Fanatic. And again, big thank you to Jason Martinez calling in last segment. That was cool. All right, so Fox did a redraft of the NFL. All right.
Okay, this is really interesting.
It's that time of the year, right? You're less than a week away from the NFL draft, so you're kind of running out of mock drafts. Now, again, take into account you're redrafting, so you're starting all over again.
Okay.
So, not that Aaron Rodgers was really good last year, but Aaron Rodgers is not going in the top 5 because he's 40. You know what I mean? You got to take age into account here.
He thinks the mushrooms make him younger.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't realize they're eating his brain, obviously.
I'm curious where you guys think Jalen Hurts goes in this draft.
Okay, he went 49th?
What, in the second round?
Yeah, because he was second round.
It was 50-something.
He was 53? 53? Okay. I was off by a few.
So where do you think he goes? If they redrafted the entire NFL right now.
11.
All right. Where do you think, Connor?
I would probably say he's in the 13 to 15 range.
How about you're both wrong? And for the first time ever, people actually think higher of Jalen Hurts.
Where was he?
Still not too high, but 7. So not 11 or 13, 15 range. So
who goes ahead of him?
I want you guys to take a guess. Who do you think is the number one player off the board?
I don't remember that draft.
No. This is
every player in the NFL.
Oh,
you're just redrafting.
Oh, okay. I'm totally off that. I can't believe he's 7.
Who do you think is number 1?
I guess it's that guy that wears 15 for the Chiefs.
Yes, Patrick Mahomes goes off the board number 1.
I would say that. Wow.
Lamar's probably 2.
Lamar's got to be there.
He's 3.
Joe Burrow's got to be there.
Joe Burrow is 4.
So Josh Allen's 2.
Josh Allen's 2. It's
okay.
kind of
So we got
the quarterback ranking.
We got
right?
the top 4.
Yeah.
Now
it's all quarterbacks ahead of Jalen Hurts, by the way, just so you guys know.
Okay, am I going to be pissed about one of them?
You'll be pissed about one of them.
Don't
Daniels
tell me
is going to be above him.
Jaden Daniels is above him.
That's incredible.
But so is Justin Herbert. I thought that's the one.
What? Justin Herbert has had 2 of the worst playoff appearances ever in the history of the game. In the history of the game. He blew a 25-point lead at halftime.
Yeah, that's worse than Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels should not be ahead of him. Again, we're doing this again this offseason. We're doing this. Oh, you know who's hot? What? C.J. Stroud's better than Jaden. He's better than Jalen Hurts.
He's going 1 pick behind Hurts, by the way.
You've got to be freaking kidding me.
So they have Jalen Hurts going 7th overall to the New York Jets.
Wow.
And then Stroud 8, Goff 9, Jordan Love 10.
Wow. I'm Jordan Love is 10?
Yeah.
Wow, that's too high.
Again, age, you got to take the age
No,
into
that's
account
too high.
and everything. All right.
Wow.
The first non-quarterback off the board, 13th overall. You guys want to take a guess?
TJ Watt.
No.
No, because he's 30, Connor. Remember, you're redrafting.
Yeah.
You got to take that into consideration.
So is
too.
this guy.
Miles Garrett?
Yes. Miles Garrett,
wow.
13th. The first offensive player not quarterback is Justin Jefferson at 15.
He should be.
Micah Parsons at 16. Now, there is an Eagle that goes in the first round of the expansion draft. Any guesses who?
A.J. Brown.
He's on there, actually, but there's somebody before him.
Saquon Barkley?
Nope.
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. Yeah, you're not going to draft a...
Got to go age.
Yeah,
right?
I forgot. I was just telling you about age, and then I do that.
Jalen Carter, 24th in this redraft. A.J. Brown went 30th. And then they actually did a snake. So the first pick of the second round was Jordan Mailata. So Mailata's up there, up high on the list too. Yeah, they think really highly.
Okay,
of him.
So he was 32nd?
33rd. They did a snake draft. The Eagles went back to back because obviously they won the Super Bowl.
So you got Hurts?
They went Bosa 32 to the Eagles and then Mailata 33.
I'm actually shocked by that number. No disrespect to Jordan Mailata. I thought
it was pretty high too.
I didn't realize the respect is that high. Yes.
There's an argument to be made. He was the best tackle in football last year. If you look at some of his numbers, and he's 28?
The age is a big part of it.
Yeah, the age is a big part of it too.
And he also, the thing you got to remember, younger than his age because he has not played a lot of football. So he does not have the wear and tear of an SEC 3-year schedule on his body.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point. The funny thing is they also throw in guys that are entering the draft, right? So they have Shedeur Sanders going in the second round with every player in the NFL available in this draft. They have Shedeur Sanders going 44 to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's so dumb. I'm telling you, I honestly, I've always believed this in sports radio.
Yeah.
Because I left starting out here, went south for so long, that national sports radio and many local do not watch college football. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Like, Shedeur Sanders, please, give me a break.
That means they're basically telling you he's the 44th best player. Now, again,
that's
quarterback
of the current
that
NFL.
Up.
That's so dumb. It's mind-numbingly dumb. My gosh.
But Jalen Hurts is 7th, so he's starting to get some respect, but he's still behind Justin Herbert.
I'm going to tell you, now it'll cause the problem. I think that's over-respect. I think it's over-respect.
You think Hurts should be lower?
Yeah, I think all those.
All right, well, here are the quarterbacks.
I think all the quarterbacks. I honestly think all the quarterbacks going first. They should almost take quarterbacks out of this exercise. Like, to me,
I got you.
Is that
Well, and if you did do that, then Myles Garrett's the first overall pick.
Correct.
The quarterbacks behind Hurts, though, who are you? Stroud, Goff, Love, Mayfield's at 11, Caleb Williams. 12.
No, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that.
It's a good spot. Good for Jalen Hurts. All right, what do we got on the text line there, Mr. Thomas?
All right, so we have people still checking in on the conversation about the Eagle season. This texter says, I'm just so excited for this upcoming Eagle season. I do expect the defense to take a step back to maybe top 10, top 15, which will mean the offense will need to carry more of the load. But the confident point, the positives, they say are QB1 and team will get it done as he furthers his Hall of Fame career.
That is kind of crazy to think that that is a possibility.
Okay, he gets to 3 Super Bowls, he's in the Hall of Fame. If he gets to a 3rd Super Bowl, he'll be in the Hall of Fame as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, because he's not going to just stop. He's going to continue to pile up.
He gets to another Super Bowl because then he's going to get all the numbers that he needs. And if he goes to 3 Super Bowls, even if he doesn't win, he goes to 3 because Ben Roethlisberger's going to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Ben Roethlisberger will go to the Hall of Fame. You got guys that you get to there that many times. That's what's going to happen, whether you win or lose.
Yeah. And it's not going to just stop after that, after the 3rd time. If they get to it this year, right? Let's just say they get to the Super Bowl. It's not going to all of a sudden just fall off and be done. Like, he's still...
No, quarterbacks tend to age like wine into the era. He's 26.
Right, he's gone.
I mean, they tend to age pretty well.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a prime of a quarterback at least till like 32, 33.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Interesting.
It is.
All right, coming up next, we'll reset our topics. We got into the Phillies a lot today as well. Speaking of the Phillies, we could see history for a player on the Phillies. And this is not like the good history. This is the first of 10,000 losses history. Johnny's got some numbers on Brandon Marsh. It is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A career high for Sanchez. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies took the series finale against the Giants yesterday, a 6-4 W. Christopher Sanchez, a career high in strikeouts. He struck out 12 over 7 innings worth of work. A great day for him. Kyle Schwarber, 2 for 3 at the dish, 2 RBIs. So that's nice work from a guy who's putting together a good April. Rob Thompson talked about Christopher Sanchez's strikeout stuff after the game.
As good as you're going to get, I think. I mean, or as good as I've seen. I mean, a lot of swing and miss. It was just diving into the ground. He was really good today. We needed that.
So the Phils end up with a split series with the Giants, and now they get set to take on the Marlins. Game 1 is tonight at 6:45 with Zach Wheeler on the mound facing off against Sandy Alcantara. Some good news on Nick Castellanos, who exited yesterday's game early with a hip flexor injury. Rob Thompson said he expects him to be good for today's game, so doesn't seem like anything major there. The Flyers season came to an end last night with a 5-4 loss to Buffalo. They're looking forward to the NHL draft. We're looking forward to the NFL draft first. It starts this coming Thursday, so we'll have some great content leading up to that for you. This update is brought to you by Sequoia Outback. Stop in for their annual Spring into Sequoia sale going on now, Route 309 in Hatfield or at decksupplies.com. Experience the ultimate in outdoor living at Sequoia Outback. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry.
give you some.
Dork.
But Adam Schefter put out the tweet yesterday of the former and active players that will be making the draft selections during the draft weekend. I don't like it when it's the current players. I like just the former players.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
I don't like it when current players are doing it either. I want players that are like the history of the franchise.
yeah, I like that kind of stuff.
Except if it's David Akers, which Andrew DeCecco, football guy, and I both agree was probably one of the worst, most embarrassing.
People loved it because he ripped Dallas.
It was so embarrassing.
That's all it was.
It sounded like Cole Hamels after he's like inhaling, helium balloons. Come on, Dallas!
Yeah,
That was terrible. That was terrible.
It was a lot.
That was terrible.
Like Jonathan Taylor is making the announcement for the Colts, and it's like, all right, like he's active. Like
Seriously.
like I love.
When is he active?
He
He has to sit out as much as Joel Embiid. It seems like
he still had a good season last year.
He did.
Packers, by the way, because it's in Green Bay. Mason Crosby, Amon Green. I loved Amon Green. James Jones, Jerry Kramer, Clay Matthews, Jordy Nelson, Dave Robinson. The one Eagle representative is Bo Allen.
I like that. He's got great personality.
Great
He
personality.
does. He has a great personality.
And, he was a Super Bowl champion with the, Super Bowl 52. He's part of that
Absolutely.
roster. So that would be pretty cool.
He's one of those beloved names,
Yeah.
too. Like just guy not making a huge impact, but loved.
Is he on the podcast with Chris Long?
He
or
is.
is he just, okay.
He is.
Like, he's actually on the podcast, yeah. And then, I think it's cool. The Cardinals are going to have Patrick Peterson do it, who is announcing his retirement. So I think that's kind of cool that they have him doing it. But yeah, Richard Sherman with the Seahawks. Simeon Rice with the Bucks. That's a bust down. I love Simeon
Hopefully
Rice.
there's no open bar with Richard Sherman around. So we don't have an embarrassing incident.
And then one of my favorite players, like role players as a kid, more so for video game purposes, making the announcement for the Chiefs, Dante Hall.
Would you consider him a role player?
Well, return specialist. He played wide receiver.
Yeah, he was solid. He was much better as a returner.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you look up the Dante Hall highlights, you're more so looking at his kick return and
Yes.
punt return
That's
highlights.
how people will remember
you're
Dante
not, you're not
Hall.
looking at him. It's like Devin Hester. Like, Devin Hester was an okay receiver, right? But, like, people think of him as the punt returner and kick returner first. Anyways. All right, you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. By the way, most yards ever in a season for Dante Hall receiving was 436.
I hope he's not going to. Then in like the second and third rounds and everything, sometimes they'll bring out like a Make-A-Wish kid and everything.
Yeah.
I love those.
That's awesome.
Or they bring out a young fan. Just tell me no Gilly the kid.
I don't see Gilly on there.
No
The
Gilly
only-
the kid.
only
Okay. Then
Eagle-
things just got more promising.
But this is a list of players. I don't have a list of celebrities or anybody else. So there's still a chance,
Or his
Johnny.
sidekick.
There's still a chance.
I'd let Gilly make the pick. Come on.
Oh, jeez.
I want Gilly to make the first overall pick for the
Absolutely.
Eagles.
Oh, my God.
Pick
it's
32.
He knows ball.
Guys, it's 16 minutes. 15 minutes just passed.
He was famous before
yeah,
the
he
Eagles.
was famous
Yes, he
before
was.
the Eagles.
Very.
But is that no? This is what I'm talking about. Hey, as a musician and what he's done, fine. Community leader, fine.
He's all over
That's fine.
podcasts and
It's
stuff,
fine.
too. It had nothing to do
Yeah,
with
I don't
the
need any
Eagles.
more. That's fine. I'm done.
All right, you have Brandon Marsh numbers as we continue to talk about the Phillies.
Now,
This
I didn't
morning.
want to ruin Connor's day, but when I saw this, when I
Forever
saw,
have the Brandon Marsh tag on.
well,
You
yeah,
know
oh,
that,
yeah,
right?
find someone, ladies, find someone in life that loves you as much as Connor loves Brandon Marsh.
No, I called him garbage yesterday, but
Yeah,
like,
well, believe me, he's earning it. It doesn't mean you can't cure your amnesia. 8 players all time in Major League Baseball, 8 have ever had a streak of 0 for 40 all time. We're talking 140 seasons.
Do you have the names?
Oh, I can get them.
My
Yeah.
one guess is Chris Davis. Remember?
Chris Davis, that's
Oh.
the longest one.
dude,
Yeah.
yeah.
From the
Oh,
Orioles.
is it officially the longest
54.
one? Yeah, remember? He was like
54.
mashed, and then he just never knew how to play
And
baseball again.
and he, I've interviewed him.
Yeah.
He had, he was having like a mental breakdown.
The yips.
I mean, no, but mental breakdown.
Oh,
over
like even more so,
personally.
more so,
He was
yeah.
0 for 54.
It's tough to go through
Which
these
is the,
stretches,
which
man.
is the longest. But only 8 times has a guy passed the 40 threshold. So with Brandon Marsh, depending on how he's feeling, He's sitting at 31. The amount of players that have gone to 0 for 32 at that point, then we're talking about it gets to a much bigger number, but we're still talking less than 50. This is historic. This is terrible. This is the worst you've ever seen. And I am rooting like hell for Brandon Marsh to get a hit. First game he plays in, get a hit. Not only because he's a Philly, because I don't want him to see him go through this, but he's entered into a bad place in the record book.
Yeah.
For this.
Oh, it's not good.
And I hope that it is something that we laugh and go, okay, he put that behind him. And I'd love to see him put, like I did, if you remember, when he had the 3-hit day when I was in attendance down in D.C. And I told you guys,
you
he's
guaranteed it.
I said he's going to get 3 hits this weekend. You got him in D.C. I'm hoping that's his last hits, by the way. He has not seen a hit. But I've been in attendance for 2 of his games and he didn't get hits.
So go to the game.
Yeah, you got to go to the game, Johnny.
Well, no, I was in attendance twice and he didn't get hits.
Chris Davis, as you mentioned, the longest, 0 for 54. Eugenio Velez, 0 for 46. He's a switch hitter.
That's tough.
So I'm reading the
My
article.
gosh.
Longest by a switch hitter ever. That kind of sucks. By the way, that's how he ended his career. Oh, no, sorry. He ended his career with an 0 for 37 slump. That's a rough way to go out.
Guy must have been good at defense.
That's a rough way to go out. Robin Ventura, a name that people know, he went 0 for 41.
Which is shocking.
Yeah. Craig Counsell went 0 for 45 back in 2011.
That was the name that I couldn't believe. I can't believe that Craig Counsell went 0 for 45.
Baseball's weird, man.
Yeah, it is.
He was a prominent slap hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you're just going, wait, how could that happen?
Brandon Marsh is not a slap hitter. Brandon Marsh tries to be Kyle Schwarber, and he's not.
He's not.
All right. Give us a couple text messages, Connor, if we have them at 610-632-0975. And don't forget, here's what we got coming up in a little bit. I have an update on the jersey retirement ceremony for Shedeur Sanders. Because
unbelievable.
Dion spoke about it.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he spoke about it. He was asked about it yesterday, so I'll tell you about that coming up a little bit. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm really excited for this. Yesterday, around 9:25, I dropped the bomb in here, and you talked about the wedding fiasco.
Sure.
Where the woman was taking a selfie, but it was really just a video to get Joe Burrow.
By the way, I did see it, and too, I got to see it afterwards.
Yeah, you ended up seeing it.
So annoying.
Coming up at 9:25, it's 2 things that you hate, but I need to know which one you're going to eventually side with.
We're dropping another bomb?
Yes.
Okay.
Because John hates both of these things.
Okay.
In my 1+ year of doing the show with John, I know
you know
some
that
of the things.
I don't like both of these.
So these, but I'm going to make you pick a side on one of them.
Okay.
I bet you I can predict, because remember, I've got, 4 years, Johnny, working with you?
Yeah, we got 4+, Connor.
Yeah, I bet you I could pick. So
I bet you.
In
Okay.
a break, we'll try that, and you'll have to
No, we should try that. Yes.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. You could text in about our Phillies discussion or the Eagles discussion of the thing you're most concerned about / most confident about going into the 2025 season at 610-632-0975. And look, we talked about the Phillies, right? And record-wise, they're right where they were last year when they still had that historic start. It was a nice win yesterday, and you're about to take on the Marlins for 3 games. You're still in that point of the season where you need to start piling up those wins, right?
Okay.
Because the Braves are still kind of waiting in the wings. Strider came back and looked pretty good the other day. They do not have Ronald Acuna Jr. back just yet. But you're starting to get to that point where you're going, all right, pile up the wins. They haven't totally piled them up.
No, they have not.
They're only 6 wins more than the Braves right now.
No, it's not good.
So they haven't totally piled them up. I'm still not worried about the Mets. You're 1 win behind them.
Okay.
I'm not worried about that at all. It's the Braves that I will be keeping my eye on the most.
Let's keep the Braves way back.
Yeah.
Push them back, shove them back, way back.
But yeah, they're going to go through a stretch where they make noise at some point. They're too good of a team not to.
Right, but we wanted it, the May 12th was the date
it's
that
Mother's
you gave,
Day, the day after Mother's Day.
That they needed to be in first place.
Well,
now, let me ask you
and
this.
I think
First
the
place
Mets
by how many games?
Just have to be in first place.
It could be half a game.
Yep, because you took advantage of the easiest quarter of your schedule. The easiest quarter of your schedule will be done. Got to take advantage of it. If you don't, then I think you could have some problems.
Okay. All right, sounds good. You can check in at 610-632-0975. Here's what we're going to do. Coming up next, an update on the jersey retirement ceremony for Shedeur Sanders because his dad was asked about it for the first time yesterday. Also, to actually make it a football-related conversation, what would your reaction be if the Giants took him at 3? Because they are in your division, and they have a sneaky good defense, and they have a great receiver, Malik Neighbors. So how would you feel if they get who they believe is their quarterback with the 3rd overall pick? It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Friday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson.
I believe that Turner and Harper.
blew John and Brennan's minds earlier when I told them that Shedeur Sanders was getting his jersey number retired. As also Travis Hunter.
I still can't believe it.
Like, Hunter might go down as a very good NFL player, but again, it's not like Colorado.
Colorado used to be a great program. It's not like they are. It's not like they're. And I no disrespect to our alma mater.
I swear, if you say Washington College,
no disrespect to our alma mater.
Yes,
who is Division I, not Division III. When you are, if you were Temple, and you did like, and they did stuff like this, you could consider it. Wow, this is monumental for the program, but not retired jersey stuff. Even if it was a Temple. This is a program, Colorado, that has many, many glorious seasons in its past.
Yeah, Cordell Stewart
and
was actually
nothing that they did. And Cordell Stewart, a good buddy, old friend of mine, I'm disgusted.
He was trending on Twitter yesterday.
I'm disgusted that Cordell's number is not retired. If they're going to retire these two guys, it's ridiculous.
So here's the quote from Deion. So Deion Sanders spoke yesterday. Ahead of like the spring game and the ceremony and everything.
Okay.
Right. And this is almost LeBron-esque.
Oh no.
Because remember, LeBron, why are people, so harsh on Bronny or coming after me about Bronny?
Because of you.
Because you did say that he was better than half the league when he was still at USC. Like, you were saying that, right?
No, he did on numerous times.
Yeah.
And he is a scrub. Bottom scrub in the NFL. Bottom scrub.
Yeah, he barely plays. He plays mop-up role.
You can't play him.
So, yesterday, when he was asked about the decision to retire the jersey number, this was his response. Quote, "We're talking about Shedeur. We ain't talking about nobody else. The only reason why we're having this discussion is because his last name is Sanders. That's it. It's been so many things accomplished at this university. It's been unbelievable, and I think we should be appreciative. It's a new day. We're doing things a little bit different." Now, when he says the line, the only reason why we're having this discussion is because his last name is Sanders, I can make the case that the only reason why he's going into the Colorado Hall of Fame and having his jersey number retired is because his last name's Sanders.
Yeah, and you would be 100% correct. No fact-checking required. None. This is ridiculous.
Like, I don't know who the next quarterback of Colorado is, right? If he puts up the exact same numbers and they have the exact same level of success, right, which is right around 500, right, is Deion going to retire that quarterback's jersey number?
You got to now.
And I mean, and bottom line is this, too, is that if this was not a proud program that accomplished great, great things, including a national title in 1990, which, of course, people of your age don't remember Colorado being good.
Mm-hmm.
They were a top 10 type team in football, top 5 national champion, and now you're going to celebrate freaking mediocrity? Give me a break. All trying to build up your son's brand, it's a disgrace.
Yeah.
It's an absolute disgrace to the history of their program, where there are many more accomplished players that were accomplished on good teams.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. It was Bill McCartney, by the way, used to be their coach. It was sort of the oddball. Mm-hmm. Good dude as far as coach, but wow.
And, like, Travis Hunter won the Heisman, right? Like,
Travis Hunter is different.
But
Shedeur Sanders? Are you freaking kidding me?
And I'm not. And nobody's saying he's bad.
No,
right? Nobody's saying he's bad. But like,
retire the jersey.
Retire jersey's kind of insane. Like,
no, it's totally out of control. It's out of control.
I absolutely love it, because if you're going to start doing like these unhinged things, and the whole Colorado thing with Shedeur, Travis Hunter, and Deion was always this entertainment larger than the sport type of thing, you might as well just go all into the furthest absurdity.
It disrespects your program.
Of course it does, John.
No, but that's not what people think. If you were a Colorado person,
I know they should be pissed. I'm not a Colorado person. From the outside looking
you're
in,
not right.
I almost respect how blatantly undeserved it is.
All right, so
it's unbelievable.
Speaking of
this
Shedeur
is worse
Sanders.
This is almost as bad as Deion Sanders' private school, which he had. If you don't know anything about that, go read about Deion Sanders, his private school that he had.
So Shedeur Sanders, we read you the quote from Adam Schefter yesterday. Shefty says he can see Sanders go anywhere from 3 to 21. Like, that's a huge range.
And that's Steelers at 21, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and he also said in that same clip, and I don't see him going to 9, which is the New Orleans Saints who need a quarterback.
Mike Tomlin dealing with Deion Sanders. Now that would be something I'd watch.
Can you imagine?
I'd watch that.
You want to know theater?
Oh, that would be theater.
You want to know? No, you want to know theater? Even more so.
What?
You have the veteran bridge first. Rodgers starts.
Oh my gosh!
And Shedeur Sanders is the backup. Learning how that would be just art.
There's my Hard Knocks. Now, Connor, you're not a big Hard Knocks guy, are you?
Not really.
Okay, I love Hard Knocks. Every year they got me on the hook. You tell me that Aaron Rodgers and Shedeur Sanders are going to be there, and Mike Tomlin's going to have to deal with them both, and then you're going to have to deal with Deion meddling, which you know he's going to meddle.
Oh, wait, there's more. Metcalf and Pickens?
Oh, my gosh. That is fantastic. George Pickens was mental in college.
Poor Kenneth Gainwell.
You know what, though? I will tell you this.
Good luck.
Mike Tomlin, you deserve everything you get.
If you
go this direction, you deserve everything you get.
So let's say Shedeur Sanders goes to the Giants.
Okay.
Nobody's saying he's going to be some horrible quarterback in the NFL.
No.
But third overall pick is
I think you would
lot.
You would be buying. You're buying a used car, but you're paying for a new Mercedes when you're spending that kind of draft capital on Shedeur Sanders. He's a nice player. He's going to need work. Yeah, that's a fixer-upper.
Yeah, he's not a plug-and-play starting quarterback.
No, fixer-upper. So, wow. Now, I think he's going to be but I do think he absolutely could be a starting quarterback in this league.
Yeah, I'd be a
question in
little
my mind.
nervous. Like, not for this year, but just for, I don't know, man. I have this weird thing with college quarterbacks where when they do something newsworthy or interesting, I kind of fall in love with them, right? Like, I love Kenny Pickett for the fake slide move he did at Pittsburgh.
Which was fantastic.
I'm like, that's one of those moments where a guy kind of looks like a guy. And Shedeur had those. Now, I was clearly wrong on Kenny Pickett, even though Super Bowl champion.
Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett, yeah.
But I don't know.
Won the NFC East.
Yeah, there is this vibe around the Shedeur Sanders thing where I was like, what if it did just work out to greatness? But
you could say that about literally any player
I
in the
don't
world.
believe.
What if Zion Williamson did become the next LeBron?
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But that's another one of those guys. It's not a guarantee they're going to work out. But I'd rather them take
Zion's shoe fell off and he did a 360 dunk, and now he's the next LeBron.
Yeah.
And now they literally just hired a GM to try to trade Zion Williamson this offseason.
Right. I wouldn't be worried about this year remotely. If they did that, that's another bad year for the Giants, and I don't know if he's a forever thing.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm curious to see where he ends up going. I do believe you draft him at 3 when Abdul Carter could be on the board.
That'd be stupid.
You're making a major
Connor,
mistake.
Connor, I'll tell you, before Easter Sunday Mass, I'm going to take a couple bucks out. I'm going to wander up to the candles that Father Riley has set up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pray that the Giants pass on Abdul Carter, because I do not want to see that man
twice a year
for 10 or 12 years
with Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau.
Hell no.
No,
do I want to see that?
4 years. They're the Eagles farm system.
That's right.
They'll be here soon.
All right, coming up next, the question. I think I know where John will go, but I don't know.
How you're going to test this with Connor, though, right?
Yes.
You're going to ask
during
Connor
the commercial break. You might just get mad overall. That's also a possibility.
Well, then Connor can predict that too.
That comes your way next. I can't wait. I'm dropping a bomb in here next segment. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies take the series finale. I'm Connor Thomas, and the Phillies got the split against the Giants yesterday, winning 6-4. Christopher Sanchez, a big part of that. 12 strikeouts over 7 innings worth of work, a career high for him. Kyle Schwarber went 2 for 3 at the dish, 2 RBIs, and Rob Thompson talked about Sanchez's performance on the mound after the game.
As good as you're going to get, I think. I mean, or as good as I've seen. I mean, a lot of swing and miss. It was just diving into the ground. He was really good today, and we needed that.
The Phillies certainly did. It's nice to get that win, and now they're facing off against the Marlins for 3 games. Game 1 is tonight at Citizens Bank Park, 6:45 first pitch. Zach Wheeler faces Sandy Alcantara. Some news on Nick Castellanos, who did leave the game early yesterday with a hip flexor injury. Rob Thompson said he expects him to be good for today's game, so a dodged bullet there for the Fighters. The Flyers season came to an end last night, a 5-4 loss to Buffalo in the finale. They're looking forward to the draft, and we're looking forward to the NFL draft under a week till that date. We'll have some great content for you previewing what the Eagles could do. This update's brought to you by Allstate. some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. I'm Connor Thomas on your home for the best coverage of the Birds 2025 NFL Draft. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Philadelphia Union Soccer.
Chance for Walker.
Connor during the commercial break to get his prediction on where John will side on this discussion.
Okay, so Connor did. Connor, you felt you were.
Oh yeah, this was light work.
A light work for Connor.
I'm surprised that he went light work
because he doesn't even think he had to. You did not think at all. You even have to think about this, Connor.
You
okay
for like
I mean, I guess I gave it like 5 seconds. Of thought.
So yesterday, this is the loser that I am. Just watching Yankees Rays because what else do you do at night? So I'm watching Yankees Rays.
Okay.
Which, by the way, it's a shame because obviously the ballpark got destroyed.
Right.
But it looks so weird in the
AAA. It really does.
It looks so weird in the AAA ballpark. And it seems like almost every day there's something coming out of a Rays home game, like or the A's with the golf cart the other day. Like, this is the major leagues, guys. But I get it. You can't just build a stadium overnight.
No, you can't. There's nothing
so
they could do.
It sucks.
Unless they relocated for the season.
Right.
And they didn't want to do that.
No. So yesterday, Jazz Chisholm, the Philly that they could have.
That we could have had.
Yeah, whatever. He goes down looking. Strike 3 called. 3-2 count.
Okay, I know there's a. I'm trying to think of what this punchline could be.
This pitch was at his ankles.
Oh, no.
Like, not even remotely close to the strike zone.
That bad, eh?
To the point where the umpire did not immediately ring him up or throw him out. Sorry, throw him out. So Jazz Chisholm argued the call, which usually you're
gone.
You're out.
Gone. You're out of here.
He actually let him go for like 10 seconds. That tells me the umpire knew he made a horrible call. His body twitched into the strike 3 motion, and you can't go, sorry, change my mind, ball 4. Like, you can't do that. Umpire can't do that.
No.
So, horrible call.
Okay.
And you are pro robot umpire.
Robot me up.
Now, here's where the twist happens.
Okay.
Something you also don't like is when an athlete takes to Twitter. So, after he gets ejected, he walks into the clubhouse, goes right onto his phone.
Oh, my gosh.
Like,
wait a minute. Whoa. Is the phone used while the Yankees are still playing the game?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, my gosh. What are you, 12 years old?
And he tweets out, not effing close. And he spelled it out. All right. To the point where he ended up deleting it because I imagine somebody said, yo, Jazz, you got to take that down. So I'm wondering, are you pro Jazz Chisholm in this situation? Because it was such a wretched call to the point where the umpire actually allowed him to argue the call for a little bit. He then just went a step too far.
That's a great umpire, by the way. To me, it's a bad call. No, it's a bad call. Dude, you're going to have bad calls.
I know.
But because you're letting a human element be involved in something you don't need to. That would never be a strike otherwise. I finally get to see it here. I like that the umpire let him. The umpire ate it. He ate it
until he threw him out of the game.
No, you have to throw him out of a game at a certain point when it won't stop and it's too much. You have to throw him out of the game. But the umpire ate it.
Yeah,
which tells me he acknowledged to Jazz Chisholm, give it to me.
So
I screwed this up.
What bothers you more, the horrible call or the phone?
The absolute. You would not be in the lineup today. You're on your freaking phone during a game.
Connor was right.
It wasn't even close.
Connor, that's good. That's good insight on your part. It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm not saying you're right. I'm just saying I knew which way you were saying.
No, it is, because you're a grown man and you're at work. And it's a baseball game. And you're doing that. That just is unbelievable to me.
For the record, Johnny, you are absolutely right, though, here. That's worse.
I guarantee you Boone will be all over him about that. You cannot do that.
Yeah, like 2 missed calls.
But I can tell you this. I absolutely can understand how somebody would lose their mind over that one. We're talking about that's worse than JT's the other night.
Yeah.
It's worse than what JT faced the other night.
Yeah.
And I wanted JT to take his head off.
But here's what you do. Like, this is the absolute right way to do this as a ball player. Really bad call, unacceptably bad call that you get rung up on. You turn, you give the umpire an earful. And then when they toss you, you give them a second earful. and maybe even a third, and you get everything out on the field. And when you walk off that field, you said your piece, you emptied the barrel, and you just move on, right? You don't take it to the locker room with you. If you had more to say it there. You're already run. What, are they going to run you again? As long as you don't like spit in the guy's face, you're still just gone for the rest of the game. You got to get that all out on the field and then let it go after.
By the way, he could get fined for this, not just for complaining about the call. I did not realize this reading an article from ESPN. MLB regulations ban the use of electronic devices during games.
Yes. Now, you're allowed to bang on trash cans.
Yeah.
But this is part of it.
That's just a piece of metal, the World Series trophy.
But that's part of it.
What if it's a smart trash can? Like one of the ones where the lids go up automatically?
Look, he should be, this should be like a 1 or 2 game suspension.
The social media policy prohibits displaying or transmitting content that questions the impartiality of or otherwise denigrates a major league umpire.
By the way, they did this. They do this like one day, and they did this when I was still going to spring training. So I haven't been to spring training in 5 years. So they used to have, back then, the one day of, they usually have these little seminars. They come in and they tell you about your drug testing.
Yeah.
They come in and they tell you about, okay, today we're having our anti-gambling guy come in from around the league. So the players have to be there like 8 a.m. and they do like a 30-minute closed-door clubhouse thing.
Right.
They do this. They do a social media one. So it's not hard to realize how you're supposed to act.
He apologized. He said I lost my cool. I shouldn't have done that. So he did apologize.
He did. That's fine then. But, I mean, how stupid.
But Connor got it right away.
You did, Connor. That's right.
It wasn't. It was a horrible call.
It's horrible, and and if you haven't gotten to see it, it's worse than JT's the other day.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he missed that call.
It's just
I would feel such pressure being an umpire. I honestly, I wouldn't be suited for it.
I would never do it.
Yeah, but you know what? When you do it every day, you start learning the zone. Like,
I got you. And
if you went back there today, you might.
And these guys are still, Major League umpires are still, 87 or 88% accurate?
Yeah.
So that means they're missing it. At least 1 out of 10 pitches they're missing? Wow.
Yeah, I think part of that is no checks and balances. There's not really repercussions to not being good. I mean, over the course of a season or a couple seasons, you may see guys get like less important games, like no playoff games. But there's no true repercussions to their professional career if they're not as good. Angel Hernandez was terrible for a decade.
It's all about that. It's all about the union. Right?
Exactly.
Like he could have stayed in baseball as long as he wanted to.
So that's why, like, the union's going to make it tough for full robot umps because they want to protect the guy's ability to be back there.
They're still going to be back there, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
That's a huge step one towards we don't need them anymore behind home plate. What you just need is you need the checks and balances to say, hey, I challenge that call. I think you're wrong. You haven't been able to say that to an umpire ever because they'll run you.
Right.
Now, with the check, the ABS system, I think that's going to majorly change the relationship with umpires.
I just think that it's going to it just is so simple, and I do believe next year there'll be the challenge.
Yeah.
And then we will eventually move within 2 years.
Now,
we'll move to
remind me, how does the challenge do you get X amount?
You get
or is it like at football, you get it wrong, you lose it?
You will lose it at some point.
You lose it. I think you have 2.
Maybe. I feel like it's more, but we'll have to see what the rule exactly is.
So here's the thing. It may not totally change the relationship because if you use both of them and in the 7th inning they botch a call and you don't have any challenges left.
Well, then you screwed it up. You're challenging too much then.
Exactly.
Well, if the umpires mess up too much,
Here's the one thing, Connor, I know I read from, I don't know if it was a Jason Stark piece or not, what the managers were complaining about is that they didn't like about it was that they have no control over their player.
The player will do it right away.
Yeah, right. And in the first inning,
if you're a competitor and you think you got rung up and it looks bad on your stat sheet that you had a backwards K,
that's what I'm saying. Is that even the managers were going, wait a minute here.
It should probably be the manager's call.
That would be
take
better.
Too much time though.
Yeah, that does
because they
take
don't have
more
a good
time.
look at the zone from where they're at always.
Don't they have the game shown in their?
Yeah, but they can't. They cannot.
They're not watching.
They can't watch every pitch. Yeah,
they'd have to go look, come back. You'd have to pause every pitch.
Unless you hire someone that's literally just watching.
But it's 15 seconds too.
Yeah.
The pitcher's engaging and everything. You don't have time.
You got to have it be the batter.
That could be interesting. All right, coming up next, we have our key 3 at 9:48. But the Phillies begin a series with the Fish. We'll preview that coming up next. Also, I just want to see where you guys go with the first-round NBA matchups. See if you guys have any upsets going on. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli, Bill Colarulo, and Ray Dunn. They have a lot.
We have the Key 3 coming up in about 8 minutes. Until then, we will preview Phillies, Marlins, and then I want to try to get on the record with the first-round NBA playoff series. Because the NBA playoffs officially begin this weekend, not tonight, because play-in doesn't count, in my opinion.
Well, the playoffs don't begin till the play-in's over.
Right.
Because they do call it the play-in tournament.
Play-in tournament.
Plus, remember, you catch Andrew Salciunas this Sunday on The Fanatic with his premiere on ESPN Radio.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited to hear. I will check in on some of that.
Not entirely sure if that's official. Like
not official yet?
No, the Fanatic portion of it. But there's a chance.
Okay. If not, you can find ESPN Radio. You have an app, everybody?
Yes.
Go find the app.
But I think we're trying, because the show I'm doing Sunday is from 4 to 7. I believe the plan is from 4 to 6 you'd be able to hear it here on the Fanatic. And then we have to go to Sunday Night Baseball here. And then I continue doing the show. But
well, that's why I say to
chance.
everybody, if you have an app,
yeah,
you can find
it. If you have a phone, you have a radio. All right, so the Phillies begin their series with the Fish today in Citizens Bank Park. Wheeler versus Alcantara today, so great pitching matchup.
Oh, my gosh.
Which I love. Like, this is one of these games where I'm just going to sit down on the couch and say, Coop, you can either sit next to me or go do something.
This game might be...
Daddy's not putting on Paw Patrol.
It's 6:45?
6:45.
Okay, the game may be over by 8:50.
Maybe.
With these two?
Maybe, because Wheeler's not been spectacular. Alcantara's not been spectacular
I'm expecting
either.
Wheeler with a greater than 4 ERA that he's due for
Yeah, it's going to come
bring
down.
that thing down.
But tonight, like I love pitcher duels like this, so I'm really excited.
Love it.
Game 2, Walker's back out in the mounds.
Who is it, Cal Quantrill?
Cal Quantrill.
This could be the last Walker, or I think that there's been a member of the bullpen that's been so horrendous, they know they can't put him out there as a starter that they thought would maybe bridge. This should be able to get you, though, to Ranger, hopefully.
Yeah, because you have an off day Thursday, so you could probably get through the remainder of games without him.
And he's been stretched. Ranger went, 4 innings the other day?
5 and through 70 pitches,
okay.
or 50 pitches.
I know he's just like struck out 7. He had a good, he's playing single A players, but
correct.
He was around the zone.
Maybe it was 4. Either way.
And then Sunday,
he looked like he was facing a Division III lineup.
Yeah,
we would have hit him around.
Sunday, it's Jesus Luzardo again, which is always exciting.
I love that we're having a coming to Jesus meeting on Easter
Sunday. Beautiful, man.
It's perfect. It's his day. And there it is.
He's going up against Connor Gillespie.
Great name on that kid.
Not the basketball player.
Exactly.
So, all righties for the Marlins, but Marsh tweaked the knee. So, I don't know how long. Did they say timetable for?
He's not going on the injured list. So, day to day.
So, day to day. Now, here's the deal. If he's good to go in any of these games in this series, are you putting him back in the lineup?
Yeah.
Because Rojas was okay again.
It's the Marlins.
Okay again.
I'm giving him a chance. Like, you can't just completely bury him. If you're going to completely bury him, then send him down and bring somebody else up.
Why shouldn't
you just completely bury him? Yeah.
Why wouldn't Rojas have he's totally earned it much more than Marsh. Why wouldn't you get Rojas?
And look, Rojas went over 2 with a walk, but that walk and stolen base
and then stolen base. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
stolen base. He's productive.
He's more productive than Marsh. I'm not going to all of a sudden start saying he's a productive player, but he's more productive than Brandon Marsh has been offensively.
Yeah, Rojas plays 2 out of 3 games. You give Marsh 1 if he's available, maybe in the Sunday.
All right, then I'm fine.
Where you're probably going Sunday lineup anyway.
Now, here's the funny.
Oh, yeah, the give-up lineup. Got to have that from Uncle Rob.
The 3-day vacation, it did not happen, but now with the tweaked knee, maybe that forced the 3-day vacation to happen for Brandon.
Well, his flight just got delayed.
Yeah, exactly.
He still got the vacation days.
You'll see obviously Kepler, a lot of Schwarber, all that kind of fine stuff.
Look out for Matt Mervis. Yeah, if you don't know who Matt Mervis is, nobody does either. But he's got 6 bombs already. He's batting like 330 or like 300 for them, I think.
Okay.
He's leading the team in RBIs down there.
Wow.
They always have some no-name guy that starts off the season hot and then turns into a pumpkin.
By the way, did you see what the Phillies are testing out in AAA?
No.
Otto Kemp is one of the players down in AAA. He's an infielder. He's been raking to start the season. He is hitting .290 with 5 home runs and 15 RBI already in AAA.
Okay.
They have since moved him to left field.
Righty?
Right-handed bat, yeah.
So he's in where?
AAA. But he's listed as a middle infielder, but can also play the corners on the infield.
The Phillies have this thing with AAA that other organizations do bypass. Like it's that there are many organizations that use AA as the launching off point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, he's not a great player. He's a guy who's got you.
Hold on. We don't know that yet. He was in single A 2 years ago. He's only 25, so he was in single A 2 years ago.
25 for AAA is not young.
Single A 2 years ago. He made it up to AAA last year. Where were you going to put him?
Okay,
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's a guy. The reason we know this name, he's getting hot, and they're trying to put him at a position.
Yeah,
to
let's
hold
see what we can do
until you get like Crawford is a great prospect. Otto Kemp's Otto Kemp, but if he's hot and you can play him in the outfield as a right-handed bat, you're trying to really expedite something that holds you over.
They're going to see if they have something in them, and so that's just something to keep an eye on. Right-handed bat who has a little bit of pop right now at AAA.
Okay,
right. So I'm not getting overly excited for him,
but it could absolutely be better than some of what we've seen.
Could be. All right, before we get to the key 3, so we don't know the full-on matchups yet in the first round of the playoffs because we're still waiting for the 8th seeds to be finalized. It's Mavericks-Grizzlies tonight for the Western Conference. Heat-Hawks for the Eastern Conference. I believe none of us will say that they are going to upset the Thunder or Cavs.
I'm not watching. I'm not watching these matchups. Not watching either one of them. But
the
I'll watch
play-in or the 1-8?
The play-in. The play-in I'm not watching.
Well, yeah.
Wake me when it's Sunday.
I'll probably watch Grizzlies Mavericks after the Phillies game. I'm a loser.
Yeah, but you're a sicko.
Yeah, I am. So the 1 seeds move on, right? We're all in agreement that the Thunder win their first round matchup and Cavs win their first round matchup. 2-7 matchups. Rockets, Warriors, Celtics, Magic. There's a lot of people starting to do the whole, could the Magic upset the Celtics? I don't believe so.
5 games both. 5 games both in my mind.
The Magic have played the Celtics well.
They have.
Yeah.
They go down in 5.
But the Celtics have pedigree, more talent. The Magic were like the team that everyone thought would like make a little run this year. They're a 7th seed for a reason. And I like Paolo. Sure. They got a good team, but the Celtics are. And the fact that they got over the hump, their hump was winning the championship, right? Our hump here in Philly is getting out of the second round. The Celtics' hump was winning the championship. So they'll move on. Rockets will move on, in my opinion, as well.
That's sneaky.
Oh, I don't believe it.
Look, Steph can have
5 in both.
Steph can't win a 7-game series by himself.
That's why James Butler's there.
We'll see how it goes.
James Butler.
3-6 matchups. Western Conference, Lakers and T-Wolves. I believe the Lakers win that series, but that's the one that I'm second most excited to watch.
I have a feeling that the T-Wolves could upset them.
There's a chance.
I think that series is going long.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
It's going to be I'm excited to watch that series. I just think the Lakers end up winning it.
I'll take the Wolves as well.
All right, so you guys are both going Wolves. All right. Knicks Pistons is everyone's, if there was which upset will it be? Everyone's going with the Pistons right now.
And I'm not.
I'm going with the Knicks. But the Pistons are a very fun team to watch.
They're fun.
I love Cade Cunningham. He's great.
And if it should be so inspiring to people that, when you have a young team that's bad, they were terrible last year.
Yeah.
And the Pistons, for the modern era, had the biggest one-year turnaround ever.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
What?
You're forgetting about a guy.
Tobias.
They're about to learn about playoff Tobias Harris.
Yeah,
No. I don't think they're winning the series.
No.
I'm just telling you about if you're a Detroit Pistons fan right now. By the way, Tobias, damn good job, Tobias. Helping a young team.
Yeah.
Being considered one of the leader, the organization loves him.
He was a leader here. It's the playoffs.
Yeah, but he didn't lead them anywhere.
No. He was the leader of
I know, but
he was the Kyle Schwarber of the Sixers.
The thing is, though, is that it's obvious that there weren't people willing to be led here because he goes into that locker room.
All right.
And I'm
not going to get overly excited for a 6th seed.
His general, dude, there were people that didn't even think they'd be a playoff team.
Well, yeah, Cade Cunningham was hurt last year. There's a reason why they were so bad last year.
People that did not think they were going to be any good this year.
They had a big turnaround. They're going to get smoked by the Knicks.
Yeah.
No, I don't think smoked, though, Connor. I think it'll be tighter than that. I'm going to go 6.
Sweep.
I'll go 6. You say sweep?
Our breakfast bet.
Wow.
I have the Clippers overtaking the Nuggets.
Yes, and I have the Nuggets.
Connor?
Yeah, Clips.
All right. And then lastly, Pacers, Bucks.
Pacers.
Also, I think Pacers.
I'm going to go
You do, really?
with the Bucks, but I'm curious to see how good Damian Lillard is when he comes back. He might be really bad, and then, the guy's had a blood clot.
That's scary as hell, too, by the way. Yeah.
But if he bounces back, we'll see. All right, quickly, here's the key 3.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
So the Phillies win yesterday, which was nice to see. And as you heard in that promo there, in our little intro, I continue to say I still think the Phillies are a playoff team, and I still think a lot of people should have that feeling. It was funny, yesterday you asked us who's actually saying they don't believe they'll be in the playoffs. And maybe our algorithms are different, but Connor and I see it on social media every single day. I imagine Connor sees them on the text line every single day that the Phillies are not going to make the playoffs. So there are people out there that believe.
I was adamant all winter long.
Oh, yeah, you were.
You cannot let Hoffman and Estevez go.
Yeah, at least one comes back.
You had 2 closers.
Yeah.
Were potential. And I know the taste in your mouth about Hoffman was really bad after that Mets series because he pooped himself.
He did, yeah.
Under pressure in the biggest times, repeatedly pooped himself. But to me, you had to keep Hoffman or you had to keep Estevez. And what are you going to do this year? You're going to go trade away more prospects to go buy a closer at the trade deadline?
Probably, yeah.
So you're going to repeat what you didn't need. So to me, Dave Dombrowski, rolling it back is one thing, but creating your own issue, creating your own problem with 3 swing and misses here. These are swing and misses. Is, to me, that's what's unacceptable. I wonder, is there a chance that we are going to see offensive coordinators in the NFL? What will they do during this offseason? Every NFL offensive coordinator that has the Eagles on their schedule, let's just put it that way. They are studying what the Eagles did last year, and they are studying Vic Fangio's defense. And I wonder whether a book will be out on the Eagles' defense.
What's your biggest concern right now going into 2025 for the Eagles?
His name is Kevin Petullo.
Fair?
We had an incompetent offensive coordinator and an incompetent defensive coordinator in 2023. That absolutely is my number one concern, that Kevin Petullo, Nick Sirianni's buddy, who nobody else around the NFL was like, man, look at this guy. He's been around the NFL for a long time. We got to poach that guy. Great minds are poached in the NFL all the time. Somehow, no one ever came to poach Kevin Petullo. That does not mean that he can't have a great year, but it does mean that I'm going to doubt that we're not taking a slight step back in the offensive mind that's designing the offense.
Now, what is the thing that you're most confident in going into the 2025 season where you say, hey, I know that this is going to be good. I know that this is going to be great. This is not something that I'm worried about at all.
I'm absolutely confident that the Eagles' offensive line will still be one of the top 3 in football. And to me, that just lets you sleep at night.
You get that etched. You can etch that into stone.
Right. They're going to be one of the top 3 in football.
That's a 10 commandment.
I absolutely have. There's zero reason to question it. There's zero reason to be concerned about it. There's still enough youth. There's still enough energy. And there's a great coach coaching that unit up.
Yep.
And to me, if you're a fan of any team and you have that energy of going, yeah, I believe completely in my offensive or defensive line, that's a beautiful place to live.
Does this Phillies team feel like more of the first half Phillies team from last year where they went off on a torrid start? And no, we're not going to say historic. Are they the plus 500 team or are they the 500 team? First half versus second half. So far through this season, they're 11-8. They've been good. They've been bad. The low points have been low, though, and that's the scary thing. All right, that is the key 3. Little scary. By the way, Mike Vito, our broadcast coordinator.
Yes.
He has confirmed that you will be able to hear the national show from 4 to 6 here on the
I love it.
So I'm excited for that.
I'm very excited for you, and you know all of us are excited for you, too. So
Thank you very much.
Make us proud and don't screw this thing up.
Yep, I'll try not to.
We're very excited for you.
You always have us to fall back to.
Hell yeah, man.
Exactly.
I always got my cushy Philadelphia radio gig because that's always very comfortable.
Hey, the Davis CPA Group made a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research. Ron Davis is probably out just partying. Now tax season's over.
Hell yeah, man. Good for Ronnie.
Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR and do what Ron did and the whole gang, because cancer research saved my life, and Jason Martinez's life's being saved by it too.
Hell yeah, man. We are doing post-show headlines as we do on YouTube every single day
check
after
them
the
out.
show. Today is one of the special listener sent-in questions.
By the way, now I have 42 unanswered that we're answering 5 today.
Yeah.
So people are doing this. The DMs on Instagram, the DMs on Twitter.
I love that you're
X.
all a part of it. So thank you for watching our show here on YouTube, watching our post-show headlines on YouTube. We appreciate it, guys. All right, we'll be back at it Monday morning. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Easter Sunday brunch because, you know, that's a big thing. Everybody have a great weekend. Mike Missanelli Show coming up next. Also, your